Hello and welcome to the Championship Talk podcast. In this edition, we're going to be reviewing the weekend's fixtures and previewing Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights games. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm your host, Paul O'Toole, and joined opposite me is my co-host, Thomas Falco.
Hello!
But before we start, there's been a lot of news items. We've had a lot of Nations League football, and there's been a lot of... to be fair, the Nations League has caught my imagination. I'm not going to lie; it's definitely been more interesting than the friendlies. And one thing that's reason it's caught my imagination is the amount of goalie howl-ups that we've seen. Did you not?
I did not watch any of the Nations League because, to be quite honest, it's terrible. But on the plus side, to highlight, well, actually not on the bright side, to highlight how terrible it is, Gibraltar have got a chance of qualifying for Euro 2020 based on their results.
They do. They would have an easier round. It's just funny, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's Gibraltar. I've been there. The main road is the runway. It's fantastic.
Oh, that is brilliant for them to do well. But can you imagine Gibraltar in the European Championships? That was bad enough with teams. No offence to Albania. Or teams like that in the last one, they're never going to win it. They're just fodder. They're just fodder to get fresh.
Hey, I'm worried if England get them because they're probably fodder and England will lose to them. Anyway.
Very good for the Cipollina brothers, though.
But watching some of the Nations League did kind of make me think. And what I want to ask you a question. The funniest goalkeeping error you've ever seen? Because there was a couple of howlers, and there's been a couple of howlers this weekend. So what's the funniest goalkeeping error you've ever seen? Because a couple of the ones I've seen made me actually laugh out loud. No, that funny.
Off the top of my head, I remember the lad who... I can't remember who he played for. That was on one of them Nick Hancock football videos in the 90s. He dived to save it and knocked himself out because he hit the post with his head. But live, the best one I've seen was Carla Keme for Wolves against Norwich. He caught a shot and then took it 3 steps back over his own line, which was quite... funny. That was the game Norwich won 5-2. The one that lived best in my memory was a howler, David Seaman with Naeem from the halfway line. That wasn't the halfway line. How can a man of 6'3", 6'4" only be able to jump like an inch off the floor? And he done it again against Ronaldinho in the World Cup as well. So all these things are like around David Seaman. Excellent goalkeeper, great man. Hello, David. We know you listen. But
see, mine's Peter Enkelman. Birmingham City against Villa. You do it if you're going to make a mistake, do it in one of the biggest derbies in England. And the best things when Sky cut to Steve Bruce, and bearing in mind his teams are scoring up, he's just laughing because it was from a throw-in. The Villa player goes to throw it to Peter Enkelman. He goes to control it. One of the basics you teach a 5-year-old. First thing you teach him is how to control a football. Obviously, you don't teach that to goalkeepers. It goes underneath his foot as he tries to trap the ball. And he literally scrambles. And it goes in so slowly, but he has no hope. It was the best goal I've ever seen. Funniest thing I've ever seen. The other one that comes to mind is the divot that went over. Was it Shay Given?
No, Tim Flowers. Tim Flowers with Stan Collymore.
Yeah, just goes straight over him. And the pace that it goes over him, he's looking around so fast as if to say, what happened there? The other one that comes to mind is the balloon. You remember Balloon Game? I can't really say it's a goalkeeper but that was still quite funny.
I've actually typed it in on Google now because I want to find one more than any other. I've just now remembered it and I cannot find it. I want to play it to you now. And I can't because I can't remember his name.
Chalk went up for being prepared. Anyway, we're going to move on to the news because there's been a load of new news items, and I think we're going to start with Aston Villa. So, you just want to give us a brief rundown of what's changed at Villa? Because when we last did the pod, we were speculating that Thierry Henry could be their manager with John Terry. Well, John Terry has been installed as the assistant manager. We were very surprised. I was surprised at this appointment, actually.
Yeah, well, I'm more surprised because I had a fiver on Thierry Henry at 1-5 to win a pound, get £6 back, and it turned out to be Dean Smith quite quickly in the end as well. He was released for talks. A couple of hours later, he was confirmed as head coach. John Terry has been brought in alongside him as an assistant. New look managerial team along with Richard O'Kelly from Brentford as well. Also, at the same time, gone under the radar is Jesus Garcia Pitache, who previously worked for Valencia and Atletico Madrid, is their new sporting director. Smith was on the shortlist. We did mention him. The 47-year-old had been manager of Brentford and Walsall in the past. He was below people like Thierry Henry and Brendan Rodgers and Rui Faria on the list. Apparently, they all said no to the job. Whether that's true or not, you don't know, but that's all sort of paper talk. So, a great choice, as we'll know from the results on Saturday and the way they played. He likes to play attacking, expansive football, and when you see the players that he's got at his disposal at Aston Villa, he's going to be able to do it.
I think it's the right choice. I'm not going to lie. I think John Terry's the right choice to have an assistant. He knows the club. What I did read is that he's a Villa fan as well.
Yes,
which I think when we were talking at the time, I didn't know that. And actually, when we were talking, why would you go to Villa as opposed to Brentford, given Brentford's strong start, settled foundations. But then when you actually read that he's a Villa fan, that probably the money he's getting as well probably doesn't help. Probably doesn't hurt the cause. And he's just right. I think he's the right choice. But can you imagine walking into the boardroom and you know you've got the job. Well done, well done. You know you're one of the 5 men that we wanted. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't really instill confidence, but he doesn't strike me as someone who's going to let that bother him.
No, hopefully not, because that can't be nice knowing that. You go, well, everyone else we wanted has turned it down. Come in, like that sort of thing, you know. Yeah, but and I think he's the right man. He's just got to be given a little bit of time, I think, by the fans and the players. He might be a bit overawed with the names he's working with at Aston Villa, but I think
he
given
doesn't
time,
strike me as someone that is, though.
Well, no, I think given time, they'll realise that what he wants out of them is going to get them where they want to be. So,
100%. So obviously that left a vacancy at Brentford, and if you could just fill us in as to who they hired, because I'll be honest, I haven't got a clue.
Yes, well,
his background.
They appointed the assistant head coach of he was the assistant head coach under Dean Smith and Richard O'Kelly, Thomas Frank. He was appointed, he's promoted from within, which Brentford...
They do tend to do, don't they?
Yeah, and they like this continental approach of having a head coach rather than a manager. We talked about that in previous podcasts, shan't go over that again. The 45-year-old is meticulous in the way of working, although his new charge is already aware of his attention to detail, which I quoted that from the Evening Standard. His background, he coaching in youth football in Denmark before he coached the Danish under-17s, and he went to the under-19s, and then he took his first steps into club management in 2013 with Brøndby, left Brøndby, and has been at Brentford since 2016. He's very highly regarded within the club and on the continent as well. Yeah, what more can you say? It says Ankerson, who is while I just go through here, he's the co-director of football and fellow Dane, Rasmus Ankerson. He said, the stronger your identity as a club, the more important it is to recruit from within. We need to have a clear strategy to outthink our opponents, and everyone at the clubs understands that, and Thomas understands that too. So, yeah.
I like the approach of appointing someone who knows the structure of the club, who knows what the club is trying to achieve, but also knows the financial restraints that the club is undoubtedly under, given the size of the stadium. And I actually like that approach, and it's quite refreshing, and it has proven quite successful. So that'll be interesting. Obviously, didn't get off to the greatest starts, as we will go into. But to be honest, I think that was a tough game for your first game anyway. One other news items I want to kind of go over. It was reported in the BBC the balance of games and the parity between some teams have only been on Sky and been shown live as once this season, and we're not talking about Red Button obviously because all the teams are shown on Red Button, but it's the live advertised games. Leeds are a team that have been shown on Sky pretty much, I think it's all but one game, I think, and you've just got a little bit more of what the chairman has said of Leeds, because I know that before the chairman's been quite outspoken because they get the same amount of TV revenue regardless of how many games is on, but obviously by moving the game time does have an effect on crowds, as it would. So you put a game on late on a on a Sunday. People are going to struggle to get home for work and whatever. But he's had some quite interesting things to say, hasn't he?
He has, yeah, and you've asked me this because I have to say his name and you get away with it, don't you? The Leeds owner, Andrea Radrizzani, has called for a Premier League 2. That harks back to the days when the late Phil Gartside, who used to be the chairman of Bolton, come up with that idea 10 years ago. That has been in the offing for a long time. His approach, Radrizzani, is that the Championship is blighted. The EFL money being too little and shared with clubs in Leagues 1 and 2, and the huge gap with clubs relegated from the Premier League benefiting from multi-million pound parachute payments. He also says, but the model of clubs being taken over and under repeated crisis and takeovers, which is quite ironic for Leeds, that can't last and clubs are going to the wall. Basically, he wants a bigger slice of the cake when it comes to TV money, as you've said as well, and there are figures on this report which I have snatched from The Guardian, so all credit to them. Deloitte have said that we should concede that a club like Leeds, that is watched by 500,000 to 600,000 people live on Sky, is getting from the league only £2 to £2.5 million TV income and are actually penalised because we are more than 20 times on TV. Maybe we should reconsider the system because it just doesn't work. And you can't argue with that because teams like Leeds their fans are being messed about as well. They feel that that they should be getting more money considering they're on TV at the whim of Sky, etc.
And the bare bones of it is the traditional 3 o'clock game. For them to be on Sky, they're not playing at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. So they are playing, obviously, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday nights. They're playing Sundays. They're playing early Saturday mornings or late Saturday afternoons. And that is the long and the short of it, is they are playing at the non-traditional times for the fans. Now, when we used to go to see Norwich, and we've been quite regularly, we always picked a midweek game because it's always the better atmospheres come in the midweek game. So our personal preference was to go to a midweek game anyway, which invariably was on TV. However, you look at some of these Sunday games where the kickoff potentially is 4:30 on a Sunday. I mean, away fans, if you're playing, pick a team sort of south of Leeds. You could probably pick Brentford, for instance. To get to Leeds is probably about 2.5 drive, probably maybe a little bit less. That's a big, the away fans are really penalised and not getting home till 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night after the game, and I think that does hamper away crowds.
Imagine an Ipswich against Middlesbrough game. or Middlesbrough against Ipswich.
Ipswich can't even get fans from Ipswich to go to Ipswich, so they're not going to get away fans to go anyway. But no, it's an interesting one because there is clearly teams that are fashionable that Sky want to show. Now, obviously, the one thing that I would counter that with is the red button, which obviously we're going to use Tuesday and Wednesday night, where you can watch any team you want. But we've already said around the parity of the live game gets the co-commentators, gets the build-up, gets the multiple camera angles, gets replays. Obviously, the teams that are on the red button don't get that kind of production quality. And I just think that is a bit unfair, and I think there isn't a balance, and I think that the teams that are picked to go on Sky are almost like they're getting the teams that could get promoted ready to be on Sky for week in, week out. I mean, is that fair?
Well, yeah, I mean, how many times this season have you seen Bolton live on Sky? Once, I think. How many times have you seen Reading live on Sky this season?
Once.
Maybe once.
First game of the season.
How many times have you seen Millwall live on Sky this season?
Half too many.
Yeah, that's
no offence to Millwall.
Ipswich, I think. Ipswich had not even been on once. They were on the red button, weren't they, against Norwich?
Yeah, and that wasn't even advertised. They decided to put that game on Sky on a Thursday night, and it wasn't even an advertised game. It was just this. Now you can be on Sky, and then we'll go back to the Saturday game, the early kickoff. That was on the red button because of Chelsea against Manchester United. So it wasn't even an advertised game. It was again, you could watch a highlights package from, I think it was a League One game that they were showing as a repeat. But you could watch Blackburn against Leeds on the red button. Yeah. And I'm thinking, that's not really a way to advertise the product. So the chairman's absolutely right, and I wouldn't, if they were looking to do a breakaway like the Premier League did, to be fair, I wouldn't hold that against them, because at the minute, considering it's the third most supported league in Europe, it's easier to watch Italian games. It's easier to watch Ligue 1 games, France's league, and that's quite sad, really.
Yeah, it's easy to watch these Italian games because Mr. Radrizzini's company owns the rights to it.
Well, that definitely does help. So as I say, that was just an interesting news article that we saw. Was there anything else that you've seen that kind of caught your eye?
There was, yes, we must say, because obviously we've not convened for a couple of weeks. Just like to mention the passing away of Sir Doug Ellis, the former Aston Villa chairman at the age of 94. He was the chairman and major shareholder even of the Midlands Club over two separate spells, firstly from 1968 to 1975, must get my teeth in properly. Having lost his seat on Villa's board in 1979, the millionaire entrepreneur, who made his fortune in package holidays, returned to the post of chairman in 1982, just after the club won the European Cup. So their big peak in history coincided with him not being at the club, but he was there from 1982 onwards. He sold the club, or he was bought out by Randy Lerner. Aston Villa fans will say who. In 2006, Martin O'Neill was the 15th manager that served under Ellis, with Graham Taylor having the dubious honour of serving under him twice. They won 2 League Cups and were runners-up in the inaugural Premier League and the Ron Atkinson in 1992-93 under his reign. Deadly Doug, as he was known. I was trying to find some stories about him and too many to mention, but he was a character in football, shall we say, and he will be sadly missed.
Absolutely, no. Any other news articles? No. Nope. I'd say other than Nations League, which again, if it's your thing, it's your thing. If it isn't, it's given a good spin on friendlies. But I know there's been a couple of injuries. Timu Pukki for Norwich has been injured.
He tore his hamstring, didn't he?
He did. There's going to be a big miss for Norwich. Obviously, after they paid Nottingham Forest, it's going to be a big miss. And there's a couple of other injuries. But other than that, we shall see you in part 2. We shall be reviewing the first 6 games, starting with Sheffield Wednesday Middlesbrough. So we shall see you all in part 2. Hello and welcome back to part 2 of the Championship Talk podcast. We're going to be reviewing Sheffield Wednesday against Middlesbrough, which was the Friday game. But first of all, you did find that clip of the goalkeeper who was having a drink, had his back to play, and turns around just as the ball goes in his own net. That, you're right, that is the funniest goal I've ever seen. And he looks at his defender like it's the defender's fault, which I think is fantastic. So that was fantastic.
Can I just say as well, Paul, that wasn't even the clip I wanted to show you.
But
there is a better one out there somewhere, and I cannot spell his name, so I can't even find it for you. I will find it at the end of the podcast and put it on our Twitter.
We will, yeah, we'll have that on the Twitter because I think that is fantastic. So Sheffield Wednesday 1, Middlesbrough 2. This was a really good game. Really good game for a number of reasons. There was 23,000 at Hillsborough, which was the stadium was absolutely rocking for this, which was fantastic. So Adam Reach hits the bar early on. Ayala had a really good header. He should have hit the target. Bannon made some really good passes, and to be fair, he was making Sheffield Wednesday tick. Reach caused a great save from Randolph, actually. Given Randolph didn't look too great in the Nations League, he wasn't exactly on his best form in the Nations League, but certainly playing well for Middlesbrough here. However, Besic on 49 minutes, a right-footed shot from a Johnny Howson pass. He received the ball in the 18-yard box. It just should have been closed down. Great turn and shot though.
Did you notice Britta Sombalonga's despair and slide to try and get a touch on that?
I didn't notice that. You did tell me about that.
Slid straight in.
I mean,
trying to get a touch.
Which is a bit ironic considering that bit like what happened a bit later on. Ayala should have been sent off for a forearm smash on Fletcher. That was. Did you see that? That was GBH.
I did not see that.
He runs up to him and he's. You can always tell when a defender means to do something because they're actually looking at the player as they do it. And he's looking at the player and whether he's defending himself or not, he puts his elbow outstretched and he's turning. So he kind of turns into Fletcher, catches him right in the face. That'll definitely be a sure of Fletcher.
Hold on.
Why are you doing?
I wanted to show you his little slide. Ready? This is a new feature to the show.
Yeah, deafening you all with background noise.
You see him slide.
You're right, he does slide in. Greedy player. 4 on smash on Fletcher. Assombalonga then scores again on 55. Assombalonga then scores on 55 minutes, and I've got some quite good notes on this because I thought
that was a lovely, well worked goal.
This was fantastic.
What a pass from Tom Lees.
Tom Lees is a Sheffield Wednesday defender. For those of you that don't know, I'm not being patronising, but that he is. He's the last man. He's on the halfway line. He receives a ball, and then 15 seconds go by, and he's forgotten how to kick it. Because when Assombalonga puts him under pressure, all he does is turn round, gently pass it to Besic, who is on the Middlesbrough team, who then jogs to the 18-yard box. Now, Besic unselfishly squares it to Assombalonga, tap him. Great, fantastic. The reaction of Lees when he loses the ball, he looks round at his teammates, shrugs his shoulders and does his best Mesut Ozil impression, doesn't even sprint back, just decides to walk back and basically, what they're going to score.
My favourite part of that is there was a bit there when he had the ball where I know he was like coming to his teammates, like come closer, but for a split second I thought he was antagonising Britta Assombalonga, like come on, come and get it. Oh, I'll just pass into all this space where Besic is. Oh.
And the thing is, when on first glance you think he's appealing to referee for a foul, when you actually watch it, he isn't. He's turning round at the defender that is sprinting back like it's his fault that he lost the ball. And I watched this goal, and I had to watch this 3 or 4 times because I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing. It was, if he played for my team, I wouldn't want to wear him the shirt again. Because it wasn't everyone can make mistakes, and when we get onto Ipswich, lots of people can make mistakes. But it was the reaction afterwards. You can do that if you're some flair player that scored 50 goals this season. But when you're a defender who's just given the ball away, you have to sprint back. I don't care if you've got no hope of doing it. You bust your ass to get back. He didn't goal for Britta Assombalonga. So then on 82 minutes, our man Adam Reach, who scored, probably this is a 3rd goal of the season contender. On his weaker foot, the ball comes to him. He's coming to him about chest height, 18 yards. He takes a step back with his left foot, absolutely volleys this. I actually think he scuffed it a little bit, but that probably helped him. And that goes into the right side, to the goalkeeper's right. Fantastic goal. Really, really good. And then what comes after that is the biggest goalmouth scramble I've seen since I was on the playground. 9 players all dive on the ball. It was like rugby league. The one player that didn't dive for the ball was the goalie. Just stood there and watched it all happen.
The one player who didn't dive for the ball was Ryan Shotton, who decided to get behind Daniel Ayala, who was blocking the ball on the line, and push his buttocks with his head to try and stop the ball and him going over the line. Watch it back. He's like this, trying to like...
And the thing is
you can see it in the replay as well. The look on his face, he's grimacing. He's really pushing him.
And there's 2 players underneath him, so that was fantastic. However, the referee rightly, I think he gave obstruction, as we couldn't even see who had the ball at the time. Hawkeye, I'd love to have seen that under Hawkeye. That'd have been fantastic. Was the whole ball over the line? Yeah, I can't see it. But yeah, so that ended 2-1 to Middlesbrough. A really, really good game. To be fair, Sheffield Wednesday, I thought, had the better of the play in terms of stats. They had 51% possession, 14 shots, 3 on target, 3 corners. Well, I suppose perception could be deceiving. Actually, Middlesbrough had 15 shots, 5 on target, 8 corners. You got what the manager said after the game?
I have indeed, and I've also found out the goalkeeping error as well. So win-win. Sheffield United, I do beg your pardon.
Wow, we're going to get some abuse on Twitter now.
I've written on my notes Sheffield United, so I apologise. I'm just reading verbatim, sorry. That's my fault. I typed it up. Sheffield Wednesday boss Josh Luhukai told BBC Radio Sheffield, "You are playing against one of the best teams in the league. Physically, we are unbelievably strong defending. They do not give you a lot of chances. In the first half, we had the best chances to go in front, but in the second half, we gifted 2 goals to them. We got back to 2-1, but it was too late." Again, every week I say this. Is he the most boring post-match manager you can come up with? Succinct little sentences. They do not give a lot of chances. In the first half, we had the best chances.
There is a language barrier.
But in the second half, we gifted 2 goals to them. We got back to 2-1, but it was too late. Really?
Maybe he's using Google now and just Google Translate.
Don't get me started on Google. Middlesbrough boss, not Swansea boss or anything, Tony Pulis told BBC Tees the game should have been out of sight. You're controlling the game, and from nothing, they've suddenly got a goal from nowhere, and they sniff a chance. In the end, that one stayed on the line. I don't mind how we kept it out as long as it didn't cross the line, but we should have never been in that position. We need to see games out better. Now we've just got to stay level, keep calm and remain competitive. We've won a game of football. That's all. People get too carried away when you win and too carried away when you lose.
So hold on. So you call Josh Luhuke boring. Tony Pulis is saying to the fans, shh, be quiet. Quiet, settle down, lads, settle down. Stop making all this noise. 23,000 at Hillsborough, shh, you're being a bit noisy.
Yeah.
That's basically what he's saying, yeah.
Basically, you win some, you lose some.
It's pretty much what they picked a good game, Sky, there, didn't they? And actually, I think two teams that have done really, really well this season. And that.
Yeah, I mean, that's nice to see a team top of the table in 13 games have scored 16 goals. That just goes to show the effectiveness of Pulis' style of play, really. Just do enough to win games. It doesn't matter about the goals, it matter about the points.
Absolutely. Obviously, the Middlesbrough team they fielded, I mean, Sheffield Wednesday got a lot of off-the-field problems. Everyone knows that. Barry Bannon could be a player that people are looking at. Adam Reach definitely will be a player people are looking at. And it could be interesting to see whether their transfer embargo and their financial position could really come to bite them come January.
Then goals again. I've just now shocked myself. I've looked at the stats. They've scored 16 goals in 13 games. West Brom are one away from scoring twice as many as them, and are a point behind them in the table.
But when you've got Mo Besic, who really looked good in this game, I mean, he had a hand in both goals, scoring one and setting one up. So they got Stuart Downing, Johnny Howson, Son Belonga on the bench. They had Rudy Gusted on the bench. I just think Middlesbrough got some good strength in depth, and Josh Luhuke was right. They are playing one of the better teams in the league. I just worry for Wednesday come the transfer window. I hope their squad doesn't get picked apart. But I think that could be a challenge for them to keep hold of their players. I think they can get after January maintaining the same squad. They can then look at the playoffs. So I think they can't really think about that yet until they keep hold of their better players. So the Saturday game, the 12 o'clock kickoff that was on the red button for some stupid reason, 2-1 to Blackburn.
Yeah, we are both on the jungle juice today.
We are 2-1 to Blackburn. Leeds. I thought played really well here. 20,000 at Ewood Park. Don't think Leeds would have been quite prepared to go a goal behind after 2 minutes.
You wouldn't have thought so, would you? But
no, great header from the corner, though.
As was highlighted in Tony Mowbray's post-match comments, they targeted set pieces. Yeah, Harrison Reed's corner into the 6-yard box, met by the head of Danny Graham. I mean, the most dangerous person to leave
unmarked
for a header, and he headed home confidently beyond Peacock Farrell for 1-0.
Saïs then had a great shot after that. Dak he had a good shot, and it was saved after a great little move. That was a really good move, and it was Peacock Farrell had to be really smart to save that. Armstrong went close to a really good curling shot. Peacock Farrell was nowhere, and he was scrambling for that.
You've made the same mistake they made on Sky.
What?
Saïs's shot was well saved by Peacock Farrell. He was shooting at his own goal.
I didn't say that. I said Armstrong was close with a curling shot.
You said Saïs's shot was...
No, I'm recording this.
We'll play it back.
But you're right. No, you do want to have a bit of a vent at the Sky coverage. Go on.
Only once we get to the goal. No, until we get after the last goal, sorry.
Okay, so Armstrong went close to a curling shot, which is what I said. Cleach on 45 minutes, right-footed shot from Berardi. It was a good move, and it was created by Saïs. It was just a great ball into the box.
Delightful, I put in my notes. Delightful.
Berardi then sort of knocks it down to Cleach. It was just a good move, but it was all created by Saïs, who I actually think is one of Leeds' players that are really making them tick. As I say, we do think they're struggling for something up front, but Saïs is definitely creating something. Armstrong had a great shot from a tight angle. It was too narrow angle, but good run. He's fast, Armstrong, isn't he? He's lightning quick. Lenihan on 70 minutes and scored a header. It was a great header from a corner. Armstrong had another good shot. He played really well in this game. To be fair, anything good from Blackburn, I actually think it was his shot that caused the corner for Lenihan's goal. So he really did play well. And then Raya made a fantastic save.
He didn't. He did not. I watched the Sky highlights, and Raya did not make a brilliant save. The exact words of the Sky voiceover man was, "Cleach was denied by Rovers goalkeeper Bailey Peacock Farrell." So halfway through that game, Bailey Peacock Farrell was loaned to Blackburn Rovers, and he prevented his own team from scoring an equalising goal.
I think the one thing about this game that we need to take for Leeds fans, I know they lost. Carmel Roof was back. That's good. Hernandez was back. Mm-hmm. They are starting to get some of their better players back. The one thing that we wondered with of Bielsa's sometimes treble training sessions, we wondered whether that could take a toll on the squad. Obviously, they had some injuries that were or were not related to his training schedules. Obviously, they're having a dip. This is going to be a tough Christmas period for them, isn't it? Christmas?
We're in October.
Yeah, and we're already playing 3 games this week. Do you see what I mean? So I'm kind of thinking the games are coming thick and fast. Can you imagine when it's actually they're playing like 3 games in 6-7 days, like they're going to?
Well, I come into this podcast cheerful. You mentioned Christmas in October.
Well, it's a fact. You can't get away from it. It's a fact that they're going to play a lot of games. It's interesting. You look at Blackburn's sort of. You look at the riches Blackburn have up front. Bradley Dack, Armstrong, Graham. On the bench, they had Ben Brereton. If they had the creative play that Leeds have got, they would be some team.
They are some team. They're just outside the playoffs by a goal at the end of the day's play. So.
Very true. Yeah. In terms of stats, though, Leeds dominated possession, I think, as you would expect. 68% possession for Leeds, 20 shots, 6 on target, 11 corners. To Blackburn's 32% possession, 18 shots, 6 on target, 7 corners. This was a great game.
That was, yes. I thoroughly enjoyed watching this one back later in the day because I couldn't watch it live because we had to go shopping. But yeah, would you like me to say what the manager said after?
Tell me what the manager said, because Tony Mowbray was quite. He was quite pleased with this, wasn't he?
He said quite a lot actually, and I had to correct the spelling mistakes I found in the article I read it from as well, because it made less sense than it does now. Every 3 points is huge. It was hard earned against a really good side, and the positive and negative of international break gives us time to study opposition. So from Tuesday we had 2 intense days, and it paid off. In the set plays, great credit to David Lowe and Ben Benson, who I delegate set plays. When I see Ben Benson, that reminds me of Mike Bassett, England manager. Sorry, I started laughing.
Benson and Hedges.
He delegates set plays to David Lowe and Ben Benson. They recognised that Leeds have 2 big headers of the ball, and we managed to extricate them out of the goal and got Danny Graham through the gap to score, and Darragh Lenihan did it in the second half. We were competitive for 90 minutes. We should have got more than 1 goal in the first half. We played against a top team, a high quality team, so it was a big test for us, but one we came through and got the points. Marcelo Bielsa told BBC Radio Leeds, "It's a loss. It's a bad moment. We needed to win this game, especially after the draw in the last home game. We didn't defend as well as we are used to. The offensive players created difficulties, but we could have avoided the goals they scored. Maybe a draw would have been reflected better the game. We played better when they were winning, and this is a defect."
They scored after 2 minutes. How can you say? Oh, so we played rubbish for the first minute and 50.
Yeah, but as we've seen later on, teams conceded in less time than that.
They did, and I can't wait to get to that game. Especially the GIF that Derby put on Twitter, but we'll wait till we get to the game because that was quite funny. This game, actually, I think Leeds, they probably were frustrated they didn't come away with at least a point. Given you have 20 shots on top, 20 shots is just phenomenal. It just shows their end-to-end, especially when Blackburn had 18. Goalkeepers definitely earned their money in this game, but that was a fantastic game. That's clearly why we've known that. Obviously, Sky have picked Leeds. They've picked Leeds for a reason. Leeds are good to watch. And they want to put games on telly that are going to get viewed. I just think that does penalise the fans, because Sky are pandering to the neutral audience more than the fans. Fair to say?
Yeah.
So obviously they're going to put teams like Leeds. They're going to put West Brom. They're going to put teams that people are going to watch if they don't support those clubs. So
Forest.
Won't go there. So it's frustrating because actually I like watching Leeds, and I don't mind Leeds being on telly, but that does have a financial impact. So we're going to move on to the 3 o'clock kickoff. Aston Villa 1, Swansea 0. So Villa's first manager, an absolute full house at Villa Park, 41,300.
Aston Villa's first manager.
What did I say?
That's what you said. Aston Villa's first manager.
First game as manager.
He's their first ever manager, Dean Smith.
Yeah, they're a week old, the club.
Did you know? Well, we know they won 1-0. We're not going to pretend that there's no different from the outset. You know, he's the first manager since Gerard Houllier to win his first game in charge of Villa.
God, they've had a few managers as well.
I think that was 6, they said.
But 41,000 for a home game. I mean, in the Championship, that's just. There'll be only a few teams in the rest of Europe that gets a crowd that big, or even got a stadium that can hold 41,000.
That's your homework question for the week, listeners.
Yeah, who had a bigger attendance? So Dean Smith's first game, I think he'd have been really pleased. Obviously, they started with a tribute to Doug Ellis, which was really well received from the Swansea fans and the team as well, which I thought was really a classy gesture. Tammy Abraham on 8 minutes scores a header from a great El Mohammadi cross. Then a quick free kick started a good move that forced a save from Nordfeldt. There's Nordfeldt, yeah. Abraham should have scored from 6 yards. It was good save from Nordfeldt.
I think that one he hit it straight at him, though, didn't he?
He did, but to be honest, if it was Gherkin in goal, that would have gone in, or Rudd, or you can pick a number of goalkeepers that where anything that's going between the goalposts, you're a bit worried.
Pantilimon.
Yeah, there's a couple of dodgy keepers out there.
Maxwell.
Yeah. I think Maxwell played well. Yeah. Anyway, Villa looked good down the flanks. I thought that was the difference. I thought Villa really cut
especially Albert Adoma.
Yeah, who
singled him out.
He didn't get a lot of looking under Bruce, I've got to say. But they've obviously got pace on the wings, and they were really looking to get the ball in quickly. And I think Tammy Abraham obviously scores a header, had another couple of good opportunities from that. In the second half, the Villa keeper made some great saves and some last-ditch saves as well.
Who said he was a terrible goalkeeper?
Well, Nyland's made some absolute howlers, but in this game, he definitely had his hand to play in Villa getting the win. There was also some last-ditch defending as well. It catches a defender's heel and goes wide for a corner.
That was him.
There was a penalty shout from Swansea late on. Did you see that? Personally, didn't see that. Didn't see it as a penalty.
I can't recall seeing that.
It was really late on. They were appealing for a penalty. But Villa had 47% of the possession, 11 shots, 5 on target, 3 corners. Swansea had 53% of possession, 15 shots, 4 on target, 8 corners. I think on the balance of play, I would say Villa deserved the win here. I don't think that'd be unfair to say that. I think it was good to see Dean Smith get a first win as Villa boss. And when you look at the squad that started, it did look different, and it was different to watch.
Yeah,
would that be fair?
Refreshing, more positive, without the weight of the world on their shoulders, really.
Yeah, and I think it was good to see them play it. They had a way of playing. I think just from what I saw in this game, they're going to get the ball and they're going to get it out wide and they're going to look to get crosses in the box. When you actually look at Brentford this season, Mwape scored a lot of his goals from pretty much bang on the 6-yard box, which just shows that they were getting the ball into him. Ollie Watkins, so clearly he has a defined style of play, and I think he's going to bring that to Villa.
Hopefully so.
So what did the manager say?
Dean Smith said it was great to win it for the fans. It was one of the biggest crowds of the day, including the Premier League. It just shows what can happen at this club if we have a plan to move forward. Tammy put in a hell of a shift up front on his own and proved that he is a fine player. He is a handful, but he knows better than me that he should have been walking away with the match ball this evening. Graham Potter said, with the emotion of Sir Doug's passing, it was always going to be a challenging environment. We are playing some good football, but we need to turn that into goals and wins. It's one of those first halves where we'll look back on and probably learn a lot from. Villa are a big club. There's no disgrace in losing here, but we want to improve our performance and do better.
Yeah, I think it's fairly honest, and I think it was a good win for Dean Smith. Brentford 0, Bristol City 1. So Brentford, who were obviously their own managerial changes. It was Thomas Frank's first game, 11,000 at Griffin Park to see this game. Two teams that I think both play really good football and probably cancelled each other out, if I'm honest. Brentford should have scored early on. I'm still not sure he missed that for that early chance, I've got to say. There was a good couple of saves from Bentley. He actually played really, really well, and I think he kept the score down, if anything. The game was, Brentford had most of the dangerous play until Mwepham got himself sent off for a second bookable yellow. I don't think this was a second yellow. What do you reckon?
When you walk on the tightrope of already being booked, you don't put yourself in a position where you're going to trip. The only thing I go on, that didn't look much, but he had his hands up before the foul was committed, so as if to say, yep, fair cop, I'll take that. So if he's admitting that, basically, you leave yourself open for a second yellow card. He wasn't the last man or anything. Probably could have been a bit lenient, but
I thought the winger run across him, and I thought he run across him knowing what he was doing as well.
yeah. But how often do you see that happen? Goes back to last week's planking incident with Watkins, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or the week before. Yeah,
Yeah, I can see that.
You've run the risk. Second bookable offence. Yeah, that was harsh, but contact was made, and the referee made a decision.
It was just in such a rubbish place as well. It was not inside the penalty area. It was out wide on the right. I just think really, if you're gonna get sent off for a last ditch tackle. Don't get sent off for some mean. It wasn't even. You say you weren't the last man.
No, he wasn't.
There was 4 or 5 defenders behind him, and I think that was but. However, that obviously really changed the game. Brentford then did hit the post though after that, which was
that was a fantastic save by O'Leary, the stand-in goalkeeper, and you wouldn't have known that until they show you the goal decision thing with the slow motion replay.
Was that actually a save?
A crucial touch on that. Yes,
Max O'Leary was his first. He's a Bristol City Youth Academy.
Yes, he got a little touch on that and tipped it onto the post. That was a great save.
Then Eliasson on 89 minutes, a left-footed shot from De Silva. It was only one of their real efforts, and I think that would be the disappointing thing for Brentford. Is actually they've come away, they've lost 1-0, they've got a player sent off, but actually probably on the balance of play, a bit hard done by there, I got to say. 51% possession, 11 shots, 4 on target, 8 corners.
Can I just say something quickly? It shows how dreary this game was to watch the highlights back on, where I've made 4 notes. The post and the save, obviously one. The goal, the red card, and the other note is when Dietu was going to come off the bench and put his shirt on the wrong way round. That was perceived to be a highlight in my eyes.
Wow.
And when he was told it was the wrong way round by the coach and staff, he turned it back round and like give a little wink. I know, just a test, lads, just a test.
Bristol City had 12 shots, 5 on target, 7 corners. In truth, this weren't a great game, which is surprising from 2 teams that do play quite exciting football at times. Though Bristol City haven't hit the high notes they hit last season by any stretch of the imagination.
Not well.
I thought last season they were exciting to watch. They were dynamic. Obviously lost Bobby Reid, who hasn't done a lot for Cardiff, to be fair.
Who has?
To be, well, yeah. So I just think this was a bit of a dreary game, and it was just a shame to see Frank not getting his first win. But onwards and upwards. Reading 3, Millwall 1.
Don't you want me to sum up the match from the manager's point of view?
I don't care what they said, to be honest.
But Thomas Frank's first post-match interview.
Go on then.
He said, not a lot really. The red card was harsh. Both yellows were borderline. With the second one, because he's running in front of Chris Mepham, and you just need to make small contact to go down. I've seen those given. The first yellow is a big mistake. Chris Mepham ran in order to protect our player who was being kicked on the floor. The referee should have handled that better. That red card changed the momentum of the game. If we continued 11 versus 11, we would have won in the end.
So he's not blaming the referee in his first press conference?
No. Lee Johnson said, I think professionalism. Full stop. We had to respect we were against a good side. We probably gave them a bit too much. They've got a lot of quality individuals, but we stuck in there. There was a bit of changing of the guard when there was an injury. We were able to pull them in, have a word with them, tell them to trust their training and have a bit of belief. We picked up from then on, and until the sending off, it was even Stevens. I love that phrase. We saw the game out very well after the goal, and if I'm being critical, we didn't have enough end product in very good areas. I'm so pleased, but you let me read them now.
I was going to say, I told you. Anyway.
But that was good to hear Thomas Frank's first press conference.
Reading 3, Millwall 1. Really good game here. There was some good save from Amos early on with his legs. Did you see that? That was quite a good save. Reading then hit the post. Then Moite on 28 minutes scored a header from a Tyler Blackett. This was a really driven cross, and Moite gets his head on it. And did you see after this goal when he celebrated? He ran over to the Reading fan, in the stand. When they panned to him, he's celebrating with one guy leaning over the seats and he falls on his face. It was fantastic. And he's celebrating, cheering like he's just won the FA Cup. And this one fan is going mad at him and there's no one around. This guy must either really smell really bad or
he is Reading's only fan.
Or he's Reading's only fan. Or judging by the attendance, which was 14,000 at the Madejski, it was the only fan in that stadium. That was just really that caught my eye. Reading's goalkeeper, did you see the save he made with his forearm?
No, I did not.
So there was a shot that was taken. It was about, I want to say about shoulder height, but it was to the goalkeeper's right. So it was take 2 steps. He took 2 steps and then saved it with his elbow. I mean, any part of your body will do, but he didn't put his arm out. He didn't outstretch his arm. He lifted his elbow up. I just thought it was a really unique save. At the end of the day, he parried it out for a corner. But
who is the Reading goalkeeper?
Ansi.
That's not his name.
That is his name.
That's not his. That
is his name. Ansi.
Giacola. That's not even that hard to say. Giacola.
Me and Ansi on good terms. Murray Morrison scores on 34 minutes. A right-footed shot. He was just the first to react from that knockdown.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not. I think it was actually knocked down. It was a sort of missed clearance, and he on the 6-yard box was the only person to really react. And I just thought that was really strange. It almost happened in slow motion. But Millwall don't get too many goals, so we'll give him that one. Sam Baldock then scored on 45 minutes. I didn't think this was a penalty. I didn't think it was a penalty. If that happens against Arsenal,
that was a penalty, but that shouldn't have been a penalty at the same time. From like Neil Harris's point of view, because
we don't want to give him something to moan about.
Why is Romero or Romeo, whatever you want to call him, bringing down a player who's running away from goal? He brings him down whilst he's running away from goal
on the touchline as well. he's on the edge of the 18-yard box. The goalkeeper's left.
Why are you going down for it? Why are you committing yourself to to give the potential of a penalty being given if you mistime it? That's what I'd be angry with. That was a penalty, but Neil Harris should have tore him to about half time and said, "Why are you doing that?" And that weren't the only incident over the weekend where that happened as well.
No, there was a couple.
And you think, if players running away from goal, can't you just shepherd them out of the area? Can't you just put them under pressure? Let him get a cross in. If he can provide a cross for someone to score, that's fair enough. Although, to be fair, from their defending from crosses, they would have scored anyway, probably, because Millwall were dreadful, especially for the last goal. But why are you fouling someone who's running away from the danger zone?
Yeah, I couldn't let that one out. But Sam Baldock's dispatched that penalty really well.
Oh, lovely. Absolutely.
Then there was a big goalmouth scramble.
Yes.
It's almost like the weekend of it. Go on, I'll let you describe this one, because this is a funny one.
My exact notes are: Reading survive a goalmouth scramble of epic proportions, because I couldn't keep up with it. I watched it back 2 or 3 times, and that was too much to note. That seemed like that was like floated in towards goal, if I remember rightly, knocked down away, knocked back towards the goal, cleared, knocked back towards the goal, cleared. That's like, I just can't keep up. I'm pressing pause and seeing which number's doing this and which number's doing that. I just thought, I'll just call that a scramble. Got it.
That's exactly what I wrote.
Yeah.
It was just fun to watch. It was just funny to watch. Then Meite scores again on 86 minutes from another Bakuna. Well, this is from a Bakuna time. He just rose well from the corner.
He was completely unmarked.
He was unmarked.
Probably because Millwall had committed to find an equaliser at 2-2, and the amount of chances later in the match compared to Reading probably reflect that. Bloody hell, yes. I've just now seen the stats.
I was getting to that.
Yeah, Millwall can consider themselves hard done by, really.
So Millwall away from home, 49% possession, 27 shots, 12 on target, 14 corners. To Reading's 10 shots, 4 on target, 6 corners. 4 on target, considering they scored 3 goals, is quite a good average. I quite like those percentages. And Millwall, probably for the first time I remember this season, didn't commit as many fouls as the opposition, which was quite...
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say they're dirty. Go on. What did Neil Harris moan about after the
game? I'll start with him. I always start with the home manager, but just for you, this is Shakespearean. Why did we lose?
Did he have a skull in his hand as he said this?
What else is? Why did we lose? Ultimately, because we didn't take more than one of the 24 chances that we created.
Well, he's wrong. He's 27.
You're probably looking at 14 clear-cut chances,
12.
and I'd say 6 sitters. We've only scored one of them, and yet, from the 4 times that Reading have got the ball in our box, 3 times it's gone in the goal. That's not acceptable. The referee has got it wrong. I've seen it from 2 different angles, and it's just wrong. Does Marlon, Romeo or Romero, need to make the tackle to put himself in that situation? That's the debate.
Wait,
That
a
is
debate?
So you can imagine him, like, he asks himself a question and answers it. That's perfect from Neil Harrison, just what you expect. The shock of the weekend, because you're going to ask me later on, is that Reading have won a game and Paul Clement has actually spoke after they've won a game. That's always the assistant
before
manager.
you go on, I like this. Reading had a player on their bench, George Legg.
Yeah,
Have you got his shirt number there?
I haven't. No.
Number 99.
Well, why is that funny? I
Does
just
he
like
come
his
with a
name
flake?
Leg.
Sorry, go on. What did Paul Clement say?
I think you say there's someone else on the bench called Arm, so you can say there's an arm and a leg on the bench. Paul Clement said, "I'm happy." Move on to the next game. Especially in the context of the season and how we've struggled at home so far, this might be the catalyst to go on and do something better in the next 5 games. Nothing like a target there, Paul. The players did well and had to stand up to a lot of physical and direct football from Millwall, which we have struggled against in recent weeks. We rode our luck at times, but in the end, the scoreline looks comfortable when it was far from that.
Well, he's honest.
That's it, yeah.
He was honest, and I am quite down on Millwall, more because I think Neil Harris, he did great from last season. I just think he's refreshingly honest at times.
To be or not to be. Play the long ball and score the goal.
And moan about your defence, but he does he throws his own players under a bus, and I think that you can't have the team are going to not play for him. You keep doing that. I also have an issue with the fact that Millwall consistently have half their stadium empty, which I think is a travesty in this league. Hull 1, Preston 1. This was a good game actually. 12,000 at the KCOM.
Hey.
A couple of bits in here that I really. One of our favourite goalkeepers, David Marshall, played in this one. There were some half chances in the first half. Hull hit the post. Then Preston hit then Hull hit the bar later on. Hull really had a line share of the possession here. Good move from Hull resulted in a ball being skied over it. That was wasteful. Did you see that?
Yes,
that was just. I mean, it was a great move, and it just gets. He gets about. I think he's about 7-8 yards out, and he puts it between the posts. So obviously, in a different guise, there would have been some points on the board there. I put a good move from Hull. Also, I've already read that. Preston nearly scored an own goal.
Yes, got that written down. Jackson Irvine lofted in a beautiful ball into the path of Bowen, who tried to flick it across the box, but it hit the head of Story and smashed onto the post before being cleared. That was comedy.
That was brilliant.
That was sheer comedy.
He
I
looks
wish
around
Sky had the sounds of the stadium rather than the jaunty music over it, because you can just imagine the noise. Because that come off his head like a bullet.
It did. He looks.
Like that straight away. You can imagine that noise being made. That would have been lovely.
He looks around like he's just been shot. He had not a clue what had happened there. That was
the next one. Are we going to talk about the goal now?
No,
okay.
Marshall's fantastic left-handed save.
Okay.
Absolutely brilliant left-handed save, and that was probably my save of the weekend because that was going in, and that was going in powerfully. However,
the goal. Come on.
The goal.
The goal. I've summed this up in a
85 minutes. Gerald Bowen. He got a penalty. No, he scored a penalty. The foul.
That's not the foul. That's the best bit about this.
I thought it was the foul.
All I've summed up here. I've just ended it after one thing. Burke's right wing cross is headed out of a cannon like by Brown. Did you see the dive he done to make that header? That was literally like he was shot out of a cannon. But this ball's not coming into the box. Like shot up like a dolphin out of water.
No, I didn't
get that, and that threw the defender, who then decided to I said the defender, I got his name, Story, hauled down Chris Martin in the box.
He doesn't haul him down. He grabs him by the waist, and while he's in midair, pins him to the floor. I mean that one, you'd be penalised in rugby. And then he has the cheek to get up and go, why?
What?
It had him pinned to the floor. It was like a scrum. But Gerald Bowen puts this away. Then Lewis Mount, 5 minutes later, on 90 minutes, great close control. And this really, it come to him sort of waist height. He managed to control this, and then one move sort of twizzle. The only thing I would say, and I don't really want to give David Marshall too much stick for this, it was quite close to him.
Yeah, but probably won't.
For some of the saves he's made, he's allowed one of those, and I just think he probably would be really gutted given his standards that he let at him.
Can I just say, because we're talking about penalties, not necessarily for Preston but for Hull. But I haven't watched Soccer AM for years, and I watched Soccer AM, and they talked about Paul Gallagher and his style for penalties, because he missed 2 in 3 when he was a lot younger, and he changed his technique, so he was facing away, and he's took 17 penalties with that new technique. Do you know how many he's scored out of them 17?
Well, it must be 17.
16.
Wow. 16,
because he changed his technique. And that's going back to, he's getting on in football terms now. That's going back a fair old way as well. This one, because we talked about, we love the way he does the run-up a couple of weeks ago. That just happened to be highlighted on Soccer AM.
Really? It's amazing how you talk about players like that. Do you remember Matt Derbyshire?
Yes.
He's playing in the Cypriot League.
Yes.
Did you see the clip where he rounds the goalkeeper, falls flat on the ball, and the defender clears it?
No.
We will post that on
I didn't see that.
It's a long ball over. He breaks from the halfway line. The goalkeeper comes out, rebounds against Gallagher. He's got an open goal. He runs towards goal, slips, falls on the ball, and the defender clears it. It's fantastic. He's playing in the top tier of the Cyprus League.
That doesn't surprise me, seeing him play for Forest for a couple of years.
That was fantastic.
managed to steal a living.
Anyway,
before we go on to the stats, can I just say I actually delved into Twitter because I saw that Hull trended after this game, and I was quite depressed after what happened.
Yes, so you told me about these comments.
Yeah, very negative actually towards Hull and Nigel Atkins. Couple of positives. I'll just read out. I'm even going to say their names as well to give them credit. At MHEF88 said, another game and another clueless Nigel Atkins interview, nearly as clueless as his substitutions. At Bentos J said, I can't say his name. Grozicki, Batty and Device all had good games for me today. Don't understand the stick Martin gets either. Puts in a shift every game and does all the ugly stuff really well. Young Jim Martin said, I'm not surprised about Atkins substitutions. Anyone who thinks yogurt and fruit is a suitable substitute for bacon, eggs and black pudding can't be expected to be able to bring on the correct footballer at certain points in the game.
I don't get that.
And I don't either. That's probably like an in reference or something, I don't know. And more concerningly for his mental state, at S_Bwyan, Atkins out. Time to get former England assistant manager Tord Grip in. He would know how to hold on to a lead. So yeah, that's why I'd get that in there, because we don't get that either. That's meant to be funny, but
they were booed off.
Yes,
which is
6 games.
Who they get? I mean, Nigel Atkins. Who are they going to get?
Steve Bruce.
He's been there, done that,
got the t-shirt,
and left. To
be fair, that t-shirt probably wouldn't fit him anymore. But
left on the eve of the Premier League, so I can't see that.
Okay, Phil Brown. He's manager of Swindon now in League 2.
Anyway, so they had 14 shots, 5 on target, 8 corners.
Ian Holloway. Sorry, I'm just cut up with managers who haven't got jobs at the minute.
That managerial merry-go-round.
Laurie McMenemy. No, I'll stop now.
58% possession for Preston. 14 shots, 4 on target, 3 corners. I think on the balance, player draw was a fair result. I just think when you look at the chances that maybe Preston had, Marshall was the better player for Hull, which is, I know they'll be disappointed. They'll be very disappointed they conceded late on, but I think on the balance of play, probably a draw was a fair result. What did the managers have to say?
Nigel Atkins, who is the current manager of Hull, just want to say that, just in case he's not by the time we do the next podcast. We played well and created a lot of chances. It was a good performance. We put ourselves in a position to win it, and it was just a case of seeing the game out. It's just fine margins. We've hit the woodwork 3 times, and their goalkeeper has made a lot of good saves. The players are working hard. We've got a point, and we've got to keep going. Alex Neil, on the other hand, said, we started the game quite brightly, but from 15 minutes onwards, Hull were better. We didn't keep the ball in the top end of the pitch well enough. We rode our luck a little. We made a few changes, and we were on top when they scored. It was quite a strange game. they had most of the territory and best of the clear-cut opportunities, but we also had chances. I still wasn't that pleased with how well we've played, but based on the game, we'll take a point and move on to the next one.
Well, you said at the start, you get a point away from home, you can't be unhappy. So,
and they build on their win in their last game against Wigan as well, 5-0. Was it 5 or 4-0? A couple of weeks ago, that was.
It was a high-scoring game. I know that. That concludes part 2 of the Championship Talk podcast. In part 3, we've got another 6 games to go, and then in part 4, we'll be reviewing previewing the Tuesday night and Wednesday night's fixtures. So we shall see you in part 3. Hello and welcome back to part 3 of the Championship Talk podcast. We're going to start with Ipswich 0, QPR 2. And I want to just start with a little bit of rant at the attendance. 18,000 at Portman Road, so half full, basically. Just over half full. Do you think if Ipswich players didn't treat the games like a training ground game, that the fans would actually turn up and watch them?
No,
because we'll start with the first goal. But first of all, do you realise that Ipswich haven't won a home game in 6 months?
I had not realised that as I was having a mouthful of Coke. No.
Recreational drugs not endorsed on the podcast. Anyway, so Ipswich haven't won a home for 6 months, which is I saw that stat and that was quite shocking. That probably is why the stage, there is a lot of apathy around Ipswich, and there is the attendance figures are dwindling, and they are dwindling. But when you're seeing comedy like Dean Gherkin and the first goal, I mean, why would you not turn up?
Can I just say, and I can't believe I've not brought it with me, I spent 30 minutes yesterday producing a line chart based on Ipswich's home attendances for the last 5 seasons over the first 10 games of the season, over the last few years. I honestly produced a line chart, and then you see this season, 15,000, 14,000, 18,000, 25,000 Norwich Ipswich, straight back down again. That's ridiculous.
But
ridiculous.
Even Norwich Ipswich wasn't a sellout.
No, but that was biggest attendance so far this season by a good 7,000 or 8,000.
And it'll be their biggest attendance they have all season. Simple as that. It always is. And I think Ipswich is our local team. It's not in a small catchment area. It's a huge catchment area they have. I think the apathy is they just don't expect their team to do well, so that's why they're not turning up.
Yeah, they can't be asked to turn up, but at the same time, without the fans backing them, they're not going to do anything. So
not with the restrictions
vicious circle.
Not with the restrictions of financial fair play and having to validate your earnings. I don't know. It's becoming a sad season for them, and when you get really turned over quite easily by QPR, and I'm going to say, in all honesty, QPR fans, don't get too excited about a win at Ipswich, because I think everyone's going to win at Ipswich. I don't mean that.
You say that.
Yeah.
They are the draw specialists at home, so out of 7 games, only 2 teams have gone there and won.
Really?
So, yeah.
That kind of puts pay to that. However, where they currently sit in the league?
24th.
Yeah, there we go. So Dean Gherkin, right, on 13 minutes. It's actually down as an own goal. So the corner comes in, and I said he's made some howlers, but this one actually was a punch into his own net.
Not even I've done this. and that's saying something.
Even when I've played in goal, I've never done this, and I'm scared of the ball. So the ball comes in, and he goes to. I think he's going to tip it over his bar. Fair?
Yeah.
He's going to tip it over his bar. Instead, what he does is slaps the ball in the goal. What goes through your head? You're a goalkeeper.
He wasn't even being challenged.
No, he weren't. There wasn't even a player standing in front of him. He can't even say.
He just went to do something. I didn't even know if that was a tip over the bar or a punch out. That was so unconvincing. That was hard to tell what it was.
I mean, you've played in goal. You've made some howlers. What goes through your mind when you do something like that?
You just want the ground to open up with you, but you just got to accept that's part and parcel of the game.
Well, it is for him every time he plays.
But for Ipswich, they dropped Bielkowski, so how much bad form must he be in if he's been put down from Gherkin? My exact note for this goal says Freeman floats in a corner from the right, Gherkin punches it into his own net for 1-0. Gherkin has really put his team in a pickle here, and he will not relish watching the replay of that mishap.
I just I can't even.
15 minutes that took me to come up with that.
I can't even. Do you know? I can't even be bothered to make fun of them. I just think it's so poor, and it's not fair to the fans. It really isn't to watch this. It was just a disgrace. Then Tom Ahmed scored a penalty. Easy. I mean, this is quite amusing. They just kick him over. Eze goes to change the ball, and no one even. When the penalty's given, there's no Ipswich players even half-heartedly appealing to the referee that ain't enough penalty. Because you just get kicked over. They just kick him.
This was the other penalty I wanted to talk about. That was another corner from Freeman, flicked on by Joel Lynch, who's ex-Wallace player. I don't want to talk about him. And Eze miscontrolled it, so the ball was going away from goal, and he's brought down by Unsailor.
He's got his back to the goal.
Yeah, so that's another player being fouled with his back to goal, running away from goal.
I've just had a thought. Watching Ipswich Town is like watching 11 men self-harm. That is what it looks like. They're literally just imploding. Why you kick the player over, I don't know. He's running away from goal. You were never going to get the ball. There is no. The defender's between you and the ball. You're never going to get the ball. I just don't. That's such basic defending.
That's a mix of panic and lack of confidence, and I think Unsiala was playing for Shrewsbury this time last season in League One. Maybe the players they've brought in are just finding it hard to readjust, or quite basically are not up to the level, unfortunately.
I have spoken to Ipswich fans.
I'm sorry about that.
I know it was a challenge. And they will say that they've got, I think it's 11 or 12 new players, and it's about finding that balance. But if they don't find a balance soon, well, they're just going to fall out of the league.
I don't really buy that excuse, because who else in this league have got a whole new squad of players basically? Bolton had a great start to the season. Villa have had a fair few ins and outs, although a higher end of the operating didgeridoo.
I think when you look, when we did the transfer roundups, I think every team had at some point bought and sold quite a few players. I don't think anyone was topping quite what Ipswich are doing. I just think obviously new manager come in, probably new manager going out if they continue playing this way. This was so bad I didn't even notice QPR's pink kit.
What is up with QPR's pink kit?
It's god awful. Nothing against a pink kit, just make it look nice. Right, so they're 2-0 down, and now I'm going to have a go at QPR here, because QPR could have made this 5, 6 or 7. Because QPR, there was some really poor defending. There was 3 clear chances. One where the QPR attacker was through on goal. They just basically, from their own goal line, the goalie gets the ball, passes it to one of the QPR players. He then passes it to the attacker. The attacker's running through on goal, should score. There's just 3 or 4 really gilt-edged opportunities, and QPR had a chance to really claw back their goal difference here. And I think they'll rue these missed chances coming into the season, because I think they could have really done some good to their goal difference. And Ipswich actually were very lucky that it only stayed 2-0. And that's about as good as I'm going to say. When I look at the stats, Ipswich had 3 shots. 1 on target and 2 corners. That's not good enough at home. And that's not good enough against a QPR team that themselves have struggled and have got Steve McLaren as their manager.
Always have that handicap.
13 shots, 5 on target, 12 corners. They didn't even battle. They didn't even win the fouls. If your team are going to lose, let's kick the other team. 17 fouls QPR had to Ipswich's 9. There was no positives to take from this game. The fans didn't even boo them off. They couldn't be bothered. That's
because there were none of them left at full time.
Yeah, they couldn't be bothered. And that's the other thing, is obviously when you watch Ipswich play, they've got the beauty of having the blue seats and the blue kit, so the stadium will look slightly more full than it actually is, because the fans tend to blend in when they're wearing the kit. A bit like the old when you watch Holland play in the orange shirts, you can always tell Holland are well supported because they've all got bright orange shirts on. You could visibly see big parts of this stadium were actually closed off. And this is worrying, because Ipswich are good, as I say, they've got a massive catchment area, they've got a really good fan base, and they wanted Mick McCarthy out. They hounded him out, and you said, what was it you said?
Be careful what you wish for.
And what they've got now is worse than what they had under Mick McCarthy. And I think that is, and I look at the squad, and I just don't think the squad's good enough. Andre Dizel looks like a good player coming forward. Gouin Edwards has played well this season. Luke Chambers has been a good servant to him. Trevor Chalobah, good player on loan. There just isn't enough good players. They just don't have enough good players. When your team is against a QPR team that on paper you think is better, you got trouble.
That's all I can say. Yeah, that's just.
It's go on. What did the Ipswich Town Paul Hurst thing say after the game?
Ipswich Town Paul Hurst thing
you go.
said, "We were second best from start to finish. It's another game where we've given away poor goals that make the game more difficult than it already was. Again, it looked like they didn't really have the belief to get back into the game. Whose fault's that? I've not been involved in a run of games, 13, where there have been so many soft goals given away. All managers look at every goal that is conceded and think they could have been avoided, but these have all been from genuine mistakes. And either as a manager or player, I cannot remember a season like this."
Your goalkeeper
Steve McLaren
punched the ball how about in training just getting catching a few balls? How about that? Go with that one.
Steve McLaren said no. What they should do is get him punching it in his own net, and he'll probably end up catching it in the match. Bit of the reverse. Steve McLaren said, "We needed to start the week well, and this was an opportunity, and we were very professional. We started strongly, good platform from being hard to beat, and very creative when we went forward. We could have scored more goals, and that has been our letdown in recent weeks. But certainly we're conceding less than we were in the first 4 games. We're slowly moving forward from a bad start and gaining confidence and belief."
Again, you won at Ipswich. I wouldn't say it was too much of an achievement. They had 1 shot on target.
Oh, I've now got to take a very important phone call. Hold on 1 second, sorry.
Yeah, I do get that. I'm actually going to let you do the rundown for this.
Hello? Yep, speaking. Yep.
No, come on. Nottingham Forest 1, Norwich 2. Norwich without their prolific player Timu Pukki as well. I'll let you do the synopsis of this. Go on.
No.
Kill him.
I'm going to tell you how I watched this game because I'll get told off. Yeah, very positive start from Forest. Grabban got the ball from Joe Lolly just outside the penalty area, passed it to Carvalho, who cleverly lifted the ball over the defence towards the run of Grabban, who confidently finished past Tim Krul for 1-0. Perfect start, 5 minutes. Grabban against his old club, 6-6.
This goes for Barcelona. We see this on highlight packages.
Yeah, that was a lovely goal.
I thought it was fantastic.
It just goes to show that Grabban is growing in confidence as well, which is good because the first couple of games it looked like he could trap a bag of cement. But there you go.
This was all Carvalho.
Yeah. But for him to pass the ball and then run was also
that an improvement on how he played at the start of the season?
Because he probably would have fell over his own feet at the start of the season. Then Joe Lolly worked hard to get into the box, beat Jamal Lewis and crashed an effort against the crossbar. Then your man Todd Cantwell laid off Onel Hernandez down the left. His effort from 12 yards rolled against the post. That wasn't as bad as I make it sound, but that sort of went across the turf, didn't it? He drove it across the ground as rolled. Yeah,
Cantwell's pass was good though, wasn't it?
Yes, and he was very upset that Hernandez didn't score. Then the next step, because Norwich were getting more and more in control of the game, so I made less and less notes. Leitner's free kick from 18 yards out on the left is floated into the 6-yard box and flicked home by the head of Klose.
I actually had a good save from Pantilimon before that, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, but I don't want to highlight that because he let himself down through lack of command in the area.
So the prolific defender Tim Klose.
Can I just say this, and I'll tell you something I'm sure I said it on the podcast before, and I remembered it, and I want to punch him when I see him. Buendia's corner from the left finds Rhodes' head. His effort is well saved down by Pantilimon. That was a good save.
That was a very good
but
save.
Only straight into the path of Klose, who smashed home the winner from a yard or two out. I've mentioned it about 8,000 times in this podcast. In my previous job, went to a Norwich City barbecue at the start of last season. The first player I spoke to was Tim Klose. Very nice man. Introduced us to his wife as well. Very, very nice. I'm sorry. But he was a very nice man, and I ended the conversation when the bloke I was with said he was German, Swiss. Oh, well, that's all the same. I'm now going to speak to a proper footballer. See you later, bye. Left me to pick up the pieces. I worked in care. This lad was absolutely lovely. Hello, Samuel, if you're listening. And I went to shake his hand, and I said, when you score your first goal for Norwich, swear on my children's life, do not score your first goal against Nottingham Forest. He heeded this warning, scored his first goal against Ipswich, then scored his second and third goals against Nottingham Forest. Thank you very much, Mister. You are a lovely man and a very good defender at this level, but for that, I hate you. I do. I absolutely hate you.
When you can see 2 goals from the lanky central defender, you know it's not been a great day from crosses, and especially when you have your first sellout in 3 seasons.
Yeah, that
29,427 poor souls turned up to watch this. Igor Karanka was really heaping praise on the support beforehand. Just a shame he couldn't get his players to show the level of care, because I think the defending here was shocking. I mean, he's not even like he's small. He's about 6'5".
Can I just say as well, one of my friends texted me, because I've got a lot of Norwich supporters, and that's why I hate them on this podcast. They don't really bother me either way, to be honest with you, but I just hate them for effect. He said, with Teemu Pukki injured, is it very likely that we're going to be outplayed and outscored today? And I said, that would be the case, but we can't cope with balls into the box. With the right service, Rhodes could cause us all sorts of hassle today. That was at 1:15 in the afternoon. He then messaged me at 3:05 saying, bugger, I'll tone that down a little bit for the podcast, it's going to be 4 or 5. I went, keep faith, you'll win. I actually fell asleep watching this game, woke up at 1-1. Actually woke up at 1-1 and had a £5 betting in play on Norwich at 9-2. 30 seconds later, Closer scored. So fantastic. I ended up actually being happy at the end of this, even though I backed against my own team. An act of treason. But that's so predictable. At home, they play Holden defenders.
I know.
Or Holden midfielders. And they can't cope with any sort of cross into the box. I'm going to sit and watch all the goals they've conceded this season, and I bet you over half are from that. You've got a goalkeeper who's 6'8", is a complete beast, and he's got no command of his 6-yard box.
I sense a bigger problem. 44% possession, 7 shots, 2 on target, no corners of your own.
No, that's because
against Norwich's 19 shots, 7 on target, 12 corners.
Right. All credit to Norwich. They've had a fantastic run of form at the moment, and they're bloody
in
good.
The playoffs.
And they're bloody good away from home as well. They do play well away from home these days as well, which is good to see. All credit to Norwich. Well done, Mr. Farker and his lads. But Forest at home, 1-0 after 5 minutes, play for 20 minutes, then to seemingly want to hold on. Pantilimon was booked at the start of the second half for time wasting.
54 minutes.
They are the home side. Go for it. In front of their first sellout for ages, 29,427 people. I've got mates who wanted to go to this game and couldn't go even in the Forest bit. They're Norwich fans. They wanted to go and they were gutted they couldn't go. I even tried to get them tickets and I couldn't do it myself. I tried, I try and see the positives, but we're so negative at home. That's our first defeat since Brentford beat us at home last season in April, I think it was. But why so negative at home? We've got the attack and talent there. Why not just try something different for a couple of games? If we lose,
he was
go
booked
back
on
to what he
50
knows best.
minutes for time wasting. Sorry.
Oh, okay, 50 minutes. But you booked that early in the second half for wasting time. Is that the best you can hope for at Norwich? We're 1-0 up. Yeah, you know what? We've got a good side going forward, but we'll just sit back. We'll sit back and let Norwich, a team who do well on the ball, completely control the rest of the game. They're not going to score. Well, they're not going to score a winner. Oh. Like that. No, it's just not good enough. He brings on a second striker in the 86th minute. 4 minutes to chase an equalising goal. He could have been playing till today.
There will be Middlesbrough fans that say this is what he was like as the Middlesbrough manager. The difference is they wouldn't have conceded to 2 goals.
No, and you think, right, that's all well and fine playing this way, but when you go behind in a game, you'd like to think there's a plan B and become more offensive. That applies to many managers in the Championship, aside for sort of running on about Nottingham Forest. But they're so one-dimensional, that's unbelievable. Their play can be dazzling at times, and that's good for a neutral to watch. Obviously, that's good for us Forest fans when that's good, but when that's bad. And they are in a good position. They're ninth.
Carvalho, Lolly, Diaz, Graben, Cash, Sudani, Goncalves, who scored a fantastic goal for Portugal in the Nations League. Wearing the number 7 shirt for Portugal as well. Guardiola. Just going forward, you've got so much attacking talent. However, unfortunately, you do have a manager whose first priority is to not concede.
Yeah, but and
What did he say?
no, can I just say one more thing? Sorry, Ben Osborne. He admitted that he played because he wanted to play. He was going to get... Obviously, he passed his fitness test. I'm not saying that. He is a left winger. The last few games, the upturn in Forest results have coincided with him being in a defensive position. He played at left back on Saturday. What is a left-sided midfielder doing playing at left back? We've got enough centre-backs. Why can't we experiment? Have him as a wing-back. Have 3 centre-backs and 2 wingers. Try something different, Mr. Karanka. Anyway, Senor Karanka, it's disappointing. You're telling me. We scored an early goal. We hit the bar, then we went down. In the second half, we couldn't find our intensity. We finished the game completely disorganised and could have conceded a 3rd or 4th. I know the crowd is so demanding, but they need to understand the players need help.
They booed him off.
We have to try and keep calm. In those bad moments, that is when they need the support. Give the fans who pay, because I can't go because I used to work every Saturday and I can't afford it. Got children, can't drive, etc., etc. Not fair on the other half.
Always an excuse.
Dig. But, right, these Forest fans, 29,427... Give them something to cheer about. Give them something to cheer about. Play this attacking brand of football. You can be defensive and be positive at the same time. In all fairness, build from the back. But the back is not really good enough. Mr. Farker, Her Farker,
Did he mention his lads?
he did on Sky, but not in the notes I've made. They are one of the favourites for promotion, and it's such a tough place to go. A sellout crowd. It's tough to beat them. We started poorly in the game, and I got the feeling that they were on the front foot. How we turned the game completely says a lot about our mentality and our togetherness. We always speak about being a threat from set pieces. Our offensive players are delivering goal, and I'm pleased that Tim Closer has delivered a goal. Even the centre-backs are scoring now. Thank you. He's probably Norwich's 2nd or 3rd top scorer now. What I will say, I told you this before we come on air, because I'm going to calm down now. This is my chill period. Take some deep breaths, do my anger management. Norwich are the only side yet to see an English player score this season in the 2nd tier.
Do you know they've also paid the less amount? The English players have paid the least amount of minutes for Norwich as well.
Yes, because I told you that stat as well. But I didn't write it down. I just told you.
Which is... It's weird considering Norwich have had quite a... they're a selling club, but they sell players that they bring through the youth academy. So
I don't know. Which English players have they got? They've got...
Campbell.
They've got Campbell. They've got Lewis. Godfrey is English, I believe. Thompson.
I mean, let's be honest, Lewis and Campbell are going to be players that at the end of the season bigger teams are looking at. Yeah, there's no two ways about it. They're going to be players, especially Lewis being a very fast fullback. Campbell being fairly good on the ball, probably needs another season at this level. They're going to be players that teams are looking at with envy.
And Maximilian Aarons is English as well. Sorry,
it's just that I've had Norwich fans tell me in the past that, but obviously being an Arsenal fan, we've had a very we've had our limitations in terms of English players playing for us, and I've had that thrown out against me that Norwich are a traditional English club that play the grassroots football. They have a good academy. They play the English players. It's a little bit disappointing to think that they're looking overseas for their talent.
Cheap.
Yeah.
No, they have got a good academy. I've actually been very privileged to go to Colney and see the facilities there. They are top. They are top.
Oh yeah, you don't bring these players through if you haven't got those.
No, that is a really good setup. The catering could do a lot with a lot of upgrading. That's my first concern.
Delia not getting her cookbooks out for you.
She's normally I was going to say something then. She's normally
lubricated. Anyway.
No, far from that.
Inebriated.
That's the one.
Rotherham won, Bolton won.
I tried, but she said no.
The New York Stadium here was absolutely rocking. I think this was interesting. The New York Stadium, I just want to sort of stop there for a minute. I mean, it hasn't got the biggest crowds, right? So 10,000 people, and it was actually full to capacity. But that looked like such a good place to go and watch a game of football.
Yeah, it's a bit like
Brentford Stadium.
Yeah.
Different park.
I mean, sometimes you see it in the Premiership with the league we shall not mention. Damn it. Bournemouth as well.
Yeah, their stadiums look such a good old-fashioned stadium. I mean, you go to a place like Millwall, you'd get a bit lonely, but you go to.
I think you had the big cancer. You had the big cancer man there.
Yeah, I suppose he'd keep you company on the bottom tier.
That doesn't sound right, does it?
No, it doesn't. No.
Big cancer man. Sorry.
There was a good save early on from Alnwick.
Ben Olnick.
Oh, whatever.
That's a silent. Yeah, that's a horrible name to say.
Rotherham went close, but hit the side netting. A penalty from Bolton was saved well by Rodak. Did you see that penalty? I thought that was
a lovely save. I thought that was wide to begin with.
It's one of those penalties where you say you hit it either side, hit it hard, you're probably going to score. He gets there and saves that really, really well.
Yeah, that was a fantastic save.
Then Volk scores on 57 minutes. I'm not sure how this went in, because it goes for a crowd of players.
I think there was a couple of Rotherham players on the end of the wall and they moved.
But anyone could have got a touch on this, and I'm not even blaming the keeper. I'm not blaming the keeper. I just don't know how it's driven low like that and no one gets a touch on it, because it wasn't like everyone was lined up on the edge of the area. There was sort of players behind players. I just think anyone could have got a touch on that. I just think that's so, if you're going to concede a goal, that's really bad on to concede. Then Christian Doige on 84 minutes, a right-footed shot from Clayton Donaldson, a long ball held up well by Donaldson, and he did hold that up really well. I know Bolton have got a bit of a reputation being a long ball team, but when you got someone that can hold the ball like Donaldson, he held it up, he controlled it. Then nice little pass across to Doige.
That was a lovely goal, actually.
That was a really, really good goal, and that was a really good smart goal. I do worry for Bolton when one of their better players is on loan from Forest Green.
No, well, he's on loan until January and they bought him, but that's a seven-figure sum.
So they actually signed him for...
We went through this in the Deadline Day podcast, Paul. Keep up, come on. He's on loan with a view... Well,
he is.
He's on loan to buy in January. Come on, Paul.
But they've got to buy him, haven't they?
Listen back to episode 5 of the podcast, Paul. Come on.
Do you know what? I have to listen to you every day, and it really does my head in. 55% possession, 16 shots, 3 on target, 5 corners for Rotherham. 45% possession, 12 shots, 3 on target, 4 corners for Bolton. This was actually a really good game, and I think made better by the atmosphere. I think, it was...
No. That's not often you look at a game where you see 10,111 people and think that's actually made by the atmosphere. I pity... I know it's not right because I've Googled it. I know it's an aside. I've looked at it because I was going to work out if the aggregate attendances of League One were level or more than Aston Villa's attendance. According to the Football League paper, known for its top-notch editing, Luton 2, Walsall 0 attracted a crowd of 895 people. That's 8,000. And Wickham against Scunthorpe, attendance blank. They can't even be asked to find out what the attendance was. Anyway, Paul
They're looking at it thinking no one cares.
Yeah, no one. Wickham against Scunthorpe, bloody good game as well. Scunthorpe were 2-0 up, and Craig McKell-Smith scored in the 90th minute for Wickham. Craig McKell-Smith.
He must be about 42.
He's still playing. Anyway, Paul Warne said, "I'm disappointed not to win, even more so because their goal was so late on. Until the whistle goes, I'm virtually having a heart attack." His words, not mine. They had 4 strikers on the pitch, so I knew they'd create something. It's a pity we didn't get a second goal. We create 2 really good chances from set pieces. On another day, they go in and we take the 3 points. Phil Parkinson said, "It is a tough place to come. Rotherham have proved that this season against Derby and Stoke. We started the second half very well and we had the chance to go in front, but the penalty miss was the key moment. It was a great save and gave them a great lift. The crowd got behind them and they went on to dominate. We have to give our lads credit. 1-0 down to respond the way we did. We wanted 3 points, but we will definitely take a point."
I thought it was a good game, and I thought it was a good result for both sides, actually. Stoke, the game definitely wasn't a good result for the home team. Stoke 0, Birmingham 1, and this could have been more for Birmingham. This was another good game, but Stoke will be quite disappointed here. There was a header skied over early on from Birmingham City. There was some good play from Stoke. It resulted in a really wild effort for Homophobia. The players that have played well for Stoke recently didn't turn up for this game. And I'm going to say the same in the West Brom game as well. There was some good saves from Lee Camp, a goalkeeper we think has done well this season.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I didn't know why I laughed at it. I just laughed at the fact that I took the mick out of him at the start of the season.
You did.
It's to be quite decent so far.
Che Adams had a tame shot that was saved after a really good move. Butland seemed to be the busiest of the two keepers, which was interesting. Birmingham City had a powerful shot hit the bar. This was absolutely
Colin.
This was
Colin charging
absolutely spanked this.
He played a lovely 1-2 with Jota, didn't he? I admired that move. And then the best bit of it was Lukas Jutkovic's rebounded effort. That was like a bicycle kick. And I think, bloody hell, a man, he's quite a unit, shall we say.
Athleticism wouldn't be his strong point.
That was a fantastic effort. Granted, that went miles over, but still, to actually do that, give him credit. He's been their best player, one of their best players so far.
Che Adams then sort of slides in. Che Adams then scores what I would say is a Jutkovic type goal. Sort of sliding in, gets there just in the nick of time to sort of knock the ball in, but it was actually from a Jutkovic pass. This was a good move, actually. Ball kind of really good build up, squared along the 6-yard box. The one thing that really frustrates me is there was 3 Stoke defenders that all were between them and Che Adams, and not a single one of them gets a toe to it. It's disappointing.
This goal for me, obviously Che Adams scored it, and the cross was by Jutkovic. Jota played it into Magoma, who attacked space, and I cannot tell you, as a goalkeeper for a crappy five-a-side team, when a player gets the ball and they've got the space, when they try and pass it rather than attack the space, nothing is more frustrating. So the fact that Jacques Magoma, a professional footballer, completely different, got all that space and decides to run into it and attack it to create more of an opportunity, that was fantastic play from Magoma. Jutkovic's ball was nice as well. Bit fortuitous to fall to Che Adams, who could slide in and score. But that was the first goal he scored this season from inside the penalty area, believe it or not. He scored a few this season. That's the first one from inside the box.
He scored a couple from outside. Yeah, he has scored quite a few from outside the 18-yard box as well. Good turns. He's got a really good knack of deceiving the goalkeeper with his shot. Then Gary Rowett. Right, so he's a bit aggrieved that there was 2 handballs. One I definitely think should have been a penalty, but it's quite funny that he didn't go to Stoke.
Was there 2 handballs in the same incident?
No, there was 2 separate incidents.
Oh, okay.
Both handballs. Gary Rowett, and the interview afterwards, he said he politely told the referee that he didn't agree with him. I personally like to think that he might be a bit wrong, and that
That's Mr.
Rowett is after me,
telling me what he said.
I actually think he might have been a little bit more aggressive towards the referee. However, you got to take his word from it. He gets himself sent off. 28,000 at Bet365. Stoke have been really well.
Other bookmakers are available.
Stoke have been really well attended this season. But when you've got the team they've got, and I've said this a number of times, and you compare Burnham City's team, there shouldn't have even been a competition. And this is I'm not being patronising to Burnham City or their fans. Butland, Peters, Williams, Indy, Allen, Ince, Woods, Afobe, McLean, Bojan, Charlie Adams, Berahino, Crouch, Federici, Shawcroft, Fletcher. Camp against Camp, Pedersen, Colin, Dean, Morrison, Niedfeld, Mahoney, Gardner, Jota, Che Adams, Jutkovic, Roberts, Harding, Magoma. I just think there isn't even... Do you know what I mean? They're not even in the same league.
It's like a player from the 70s when you went across their defence. Camp, Colin, Dean, Morrison. I thought it was the same person. Camp, Colin, Dean, Morrison.
Yeah.
Playing at the back in the 70s. But no, so that is the thing. That's not what squad you've got on paper. That's what your squad do together as a team. Stoke strike me as a bunch of...
Well, they are a bunch of individuals.
Birmingham work their socks off, and they are where they deserve to be at the minute, which I can't believe they're only 14th. If they can convert some of their draws into wins, they'd be a lot higher up the table.
They had 7 internationals play, 1 Champions League winner.
Yeah. But then again, that doesn't mean a jot. Look at the way Real Madrid have started their season in La Liga. Look what's happened here as well. And what's happened? An own goal by Hector Bellerin. 1-0 Leicester as we speak at the minute. He'll be as upset as I was on Saturday. They'll win. They'll score in the 90th minute like they always do. That's fine.
71% possession to
Change the
So
subject.
Stoke, 19 shots, 3 on target, 11 corners. You can't say he didn't have a go. You really can't say he didn't have a go. 29% possession Birmingham, 13 shots, 6 on target, 14 corners.
Can we go back to the penalty? Well, what was meant to be a penalty but wasn't.
It was a bit of a scramble, wasn't it?
There was 2 incidents in there. I went back and watched it about 7 or 8 times. Handball, definitely.
It was definitely a handball.
You can't
No,
say
I'm not
that
even
was like a
arguing that.
natural thing. No. I mean, I played it back, and my other half was laughing. What are you doing? I said, that was that wasn't. There's no way you cannot see that.
I thought you were going to say. She said, "Oh, they've got 2 goalkeepers."
The thing that missed, but the thing that no, she said, "What am I meant to be looking at here? The ball. It's football." The bit that made me laugh is after that in the furore afterwards. Berahino was like blatantly sived down by a Birmingham player who was on the floor.
Kicks him over, doesn't it?
Surely, alright, you've missed a handball, you're watching the penalty area, and he is blatantly kicked down out of frustration, and nothing is given for that either. I understand Gary Rowett's pain. He's come across. I was reading something that Simon Jordan said about him when he went when he went here at the start of the season from Derby to Stoke, and he said every time he blinks he sees an opportunity or something. He was like being very negative about it. Stoke City boss that could well be jaundice actually. Stoke City boss Gary Rowett says if I've been abusive or sworn at the referee, pardon me, I'm honest enough to say that I've done that, but I didn't do that. I said to the ref, that's 2 handballs, that's 2 penalties. He sent me off. He told me that I could have said something completely different. It'll be my word against the referee, and of course they're going to take the referee's side of it. What we've done is given the officials extra power to brandish a card at the manager in front of a whole stadium. For me, that incites the game more than a manager trying to articulate he doesn't agree. Where do we go with that? So basically, he wants the power to shout anything he wants and not get sent off because it's going to incite the crowd if he's sent off.
I mean, he has every right to feel aggrieved, but it was funny watching him get sent off.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Birmingham City boss Gary Monk told BBC West Midlands,
"Woohoo!
What a huge 3 points considering who we've played. Away from home against one of the best squads in the league and very much fancied for promotion. The lads deserved it for a real gutsy display for showing such heart. We defended well, and when we had a moment late on, we were clinical enough with the finish. The spirit of this club right now is fantastic. We're harnessing that energy, and it was good to send that packed away end home happy." I think I got that in the right order.
Wigan 1, West Brom 0. 12,000 at DW Stadium. Nice empty stadium, this one. Wigan had a couple of good chances early on. Just needed some better finishing. There was West Brom really didn't turn up for this. Neither offensively or defensively. They just did not turn up. This game wasn't exactly a great spectacle to watch.
How many bullet points of notes have you made for this?
3.
Ditto.
Josh Windass on 74 minutes. And I actually thought the goal was really good. This was really, really poor goal from West Brom's point of view. However, this was a great finish from Windass from a Nick Powell pass.
Describe to me how you'd call it a bad goal.
I just think...
I ain't argue with you. I just want to know what you think compared to what I've written down.
Why was there only one defender chasing back?
Well...
That's the bit I don't get.
More concerning is that Powell won the flick on into the path of Windass. There was tons of space. How easily he was able to beat Hegazi and from just inside the area fired. Like, you can't blame Sam Johnson whatsoever. He made a good save in the first half from Josh Windass as well. But yeah, that was all far, far too easy, and as it was, that was all it took, really. And then later on,
Livermore gets himself sent off, and he just doesn't care. He kicks a player over, and obviously we've said about getting sent off and fouls in stupid positions. He gets pressurised, he loses the ball, he just kicks the player, shrugs his shoulders, walks off.
Yeah, took one for the team.
He took one for the team, but he took one for the team when he's 1-0 down. He's now going to miss the next game, which West Brom is in good positions. They've defended really badly at times this season. They've got some great attacking players going forward, none of which seem to want to play this week. They had 6 yellow cards in this game, so really kind of a bit out of hand in terms of discipline. They only had 7 shots, 1 on target. How many goals they scored this season? West Brom?
31.
31 goals. They had 1 shot on target in this game. I wouldn't pay them. If I was their manager, I wouldn't pay them.
So
They didn't
got
turn
nothing
up.
to do with Wigan's defensive resolve or anything. That's just the fact that they.
No, we've already talked about Wigan's defensive resolve. Wigan can't. Wigan can't even defend an argument. You know, they're not even. They're not. Do you know what I mean? They're West Brom could have easily. I'm not going to say easily. I'm going to say mowed over.
Wigan at home, right? Played 7, won 5, drew 2, lost none, scored 10, conceded 5.
You just said West Brom scored 31. I'm
Yeah,
not
but
having-
away from home, West Brom have scored 11, conceded 11, won 2, drawn 3, lost 2. So their strengths very much lie playing at home.
Harvey Barnes, Dwight Gale, Jay Rodriguez. On the bench they had Robson Kanu, Wes Houlihan, Sanford. I ain't having that. West Brom just didn't.
But Wigan have got a defence of James, Kipper, Dunkley, Byrne. I've said bum for a minute, and Byrne. Come on!
Really?
Come on, we just
I
said
reckon
in the
Dwight-
last game. It doesn't matter about the squad you've got on paper. That matters what you do as a unit on the pitch. Wigan have obviously found a way to cancel out West Brom. I
would hasten a guess to say that 11 players that played for Wigan, if you add up the sum total of the wage bill, come to Dwight Gale's wages.
Quite possibly, but still, that's
I'm not saying it gives him a given right. I'm saying it gives you a given right to have more than one shot on target.
Well, you're wrong.
And more
Next
than three
game,
corners.
please. Next, come on.
You're not even going to talk about what the manager said.
No, 'cause I'm angry now. No, go on. Paul Cook said, I'm displeased with the performance no matter how the game goes.
What did Darren Moore say?
As a manager, I'm very much into how we perform. Darren Moore said, we were in bits and pieces. Bits and pieces. Bit Dave Clark 5 for you. It was stop-start, really. For the first 25 minutes, we played really well, started brightly, and as they grew into it, they restructured their game plan and grew more and more into the game. It was a physical battle. Both teams were at it. Wigan were very good in their work rate off the ball, defended well as a team, and also went up against us. The game was evenly balanced from that. I'm just reading it like this because I'm dull.
It is dull.
I'm going to stop.
Game's
right,
over. Derby 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1. This was a game I watched. This was live on Sky. This was a fantastic game. 17 seconds. Sheffield United.
You've done the same thing I
I
done
did.
earlier in the podcast. 1-1.
God, we're going to get so much abuse on Twitter. I'm taking the notifications off the Twitter feed. Derby County scored after 17 seconds. Sheffield United hadn't touched the ball.
I made it 19 seconds.
So
So
it was 17
we'll
seconds.
cut it in the middle and say
Craig Bryson scored from Jack Marriott pass. This actually was a fantastic pass goal. Sheffield United, as I say, hadn't touched the ball. This. Do you think Graham Lampard said, "Let's start quickly"?
Yeah.
And they went, "All right, then." If it was that easy, that's
Okay,
fair
goal.
enough.
Thanks, manager.
Chris Basham on 41 minutes scored from a John Fleck pass.
Oh, no.
No, I'm going to go. This was a great goal, all about Fleck's powerful run into the box. So he kind of
That's bad.
2-3 defenders, I think he goes past,
4
squares it. Bryson scores. A typical Sheffield United goal. They tend to have good moves, pass it, get it into the box, and then square it. So with
A
a Billy
typical
Sharp.
Sheffield United goal in the sense that their centre back was in the 6-yard box.
No. In the sense that it was scored from the 6-yard box. The Billy Sharp position. Waghorn should have scored, but he just didn't get it on target, but he should have scored. Henderson made some great saves here, actually. Henderson is another goalkeeper that I think we haven't mentioned too much about. But
Yeah,
he's actually
on
played
loan from
really,
Manchester United. He was
played
in the
really
England
well
21,
this season.
wasn't he?
Yeah, he's played really, really well. He then made another great save with his left hand from Lawrence. That was a fantastic save. Then Jack Marriott on 77 minutes. It was a smart finish because it kind of comes off like just above his ankle. It's the only bit of his body he can probably hit the ball with.
Yeah, that was a
just-
lovely goal, wasn't it?
Just get someone to get it on target. I think he's going to be a good player for Derby this season.
Yeah, good. Another one of these strikers off the production line at Peterborough. He was linked with other clubs, Forest being one of them in the summer. Yeah, lovely goal. It was a lovely cross from Forsyth, who definitely played his cards right with that one. Got it into the box.
Did you see Carson's drop catch from a corner?
I did not know because.
So he comes to get it. He's turning as he tries to catch it. He drops it right in front of the attacker, and lucky enough, the defender on the line manages to clear it. He gives the defender a hug. You can see how grateful he was. He's like, "No, I'm not as bad as Gherkin." 27,000 at Pride Park to see this one. This was a good game actually. 12 shots on target for Derby. Possession was all square at 50% each. 4 shots on target. 13 for Sheffield United. I think Sheffield United were disappointed, but given the run of form they've been on, they still sit second. I think it was fair. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, just say what the manager said really, because I didn't watch this game because I was upset after Forest lost. And then I didn't. The last thing you want to do after Forest lost is watch Derby win. So, Marriott's winner, was top class, as good as they come. For a goal scorer to get across your man at pace and to guide it into the far corner as he did is a really difficult skill, and I didn't realise how good it was until I saw a replay. I'm very demanding of centre forwards because I want them to work for the team. They just can't think about goals. Jack was probably a bit short of fitness when he got here, so that took a few weeks, but he loves practising and loves improving because the more you practice, the more you improve. Mr. Obvious, well done. Sheffield United boss Chris Wilder said it is a great result for Frank and Derby and a poor one for us. Yeah, it was a tight game between two really good sides and they found their moment. Derby were better than us second half. We lost control of the game a little bit, but I thought we were really good in the first. I've no complaints about the second half and the result overall because if you defend like that and don't put teams to bed, the result can go either way.
They'll be disappointed, however. They still sit second, only on goal difference. So Middlesbrough currently lead the way on 25 points, goal difference of 9. Sheffield United sits second, 25 points, goal difference of 7. West Brom are just behind them on 24 points, goal difference of 13. Then come Leeds, 23 points, Derby, 21 points, Norwich also 21 points, and Blackburn Rovers on 21 points sit just outside the playoffs because they have a goal difference of 0. Dead last, Ipswich Town. I've done enough of them. 9 points, minus 9 goal difference. Hull City, 9 points, minus 9 goal. Actually, come to it. I think Hull are actually above them on alphabetical order.
There might be goals scored.
No, 11 and 20, both of them.
Okay.
But it must be alphabetical order. Anyway, 9 points each. It doesn't matter. They're both rubbish. 22nd. 10 points minus 8.
It doesn't matter, they are both rubbish.
Preston and
impartial podcasting at its very best, Paul.
I calls it as I sees it, and Arsenal just gone 1-0 down, so I'm a bit miserable.
It's actually now 1-1. It shows how up to date you are.
Oh, yay. Preston on 10 points, goal difference of minus 6, so they're above the playoffs just on the fact of goal scores. When you actually look, though, and as much as I give Ipswich and Hull grief, I mean...
That doesn't matter because they're both rubbish.
They are both rubbish. However, results go their way, and if they manage to get a win, they can go up to 19th. So that's 3 points separate bottom and 19th. You know, that just shows how tight it is down there. And you kind of then look at the playoff position where Villa in 13th on 18 points. Again, a win for them, potentially in the right results, puts them in the playoffs. And they're in 13th. So that's how close it is down the bottom there. So the Championship is synonymous with being a tight league. And I think it's even more so this year. In terms of top goal scorers, Mwape is currently sitting top on 10 goals scored. Dwight Gale, 8 goals scored. Jay Rodriguez, 7 goals scored. Billy Sharp, 7 goals scored. Budvarsson, 6 goals scored. Dak, 6 goals. Graben, 6 goals. And Jukovic, 6 goals.
You said it right, mate, as well.
I did say it right. So, goal of the week.
Goal of the week for me. As much as I'd love to say Dean Gherkin's own goal again, just to spite you. I'm going to go for Doidge's goal, actually.
What, Donald?
I liked his goal because that was a first time finish from outside the area, low beyond the goalkeeper. Big step up from League 2 to the Championship for Doidge. And yeah, I'll go for that. There are probably better pure goals out there than that this week, but I'm going for that one because that got Bolton a priceless point away from home.
To be fair, that was the goal I was going to pick. I'm going to go for Adam Reach's goal because I think technically ability that was really, really good. What was your game of the week?
I've got to say, for sheer entertainment and frills and spills, see if I can buy a bit more time while I decide between the two. I'm going to say Blackburn 2, Leeds 1. because I didn't expect that. Blackburn found a way to beat them, and it wasn't actually a bad game to watch.
I'm actually going to go Hull Preston.
Okay.
There was a lot of highlights to it. I really enjoyed watching the game. I think it was two teams really battling. I know they're battling down the bottom. I actually think there were two teams that just really, really wanted to win, and they did everything. And when you watch some of the performances from some of the other teams, Ipswich, they didn't show that fight. And I think that's you. If you're going to support your team, you want your team to fight, and I think that's what both teams did. Shock of the weekend.
Oh, definitely Nottingham Forest 1, Norwich 2.
Really?
No, the shock of the weekend for me I would have to say be actually looking at the rest of the results, I am going to go for that because I thought that was a nailed on draw. And just the way Forest started,
I'm going
5 minutes.
for Ipswich is humiliating defeat to QPR.
No, that was expected.
No, seriously. Ipswich, when we were going into the international break, Ipswich had not put into too bad a performances. My shock of the week isn't the result. My shock of the week is how bad the performance was. I think that's my shock of the week. So that concludes part 3 of the Championship Talk podcast. In part 4, we'll be previewing Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights games. So we shall catch you in part 4. Welcome back to part 4 of the Championship Talk podcast. We're going to be previewing Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights games, all on the red button, which is fantastic. So if you are a Championship supporter, which you'd wonder why you listen to this podcast if you're not,
Hello, Mum.
then you can watch any game you want. Probably not the greatest of coverage, but you can watch any other game. So with Middlesbrough against Rotherham. Where are you going with this one? Rotherham and their fantastic away record, sorry. Go Middlesbrough then.
Well, just trying to think by how many goals, to be honest with you. No, Middlesbrough will win, and that'll probably be like 2-0.
Yeah, Middlesbrough don't score more than 2.
No, I'll say 2-0. But yeah, you can't see anything other than a home win.
No. I just think if you're gonna have a nailed on result, I would say Middlesbrough home win against Rotherham is definitely one of those. Millwall at home to Wigan. I'd say this is a tough one to pick.
Yeah, because Millwall.
I mean, Wigan aren't going to take a lot of fans to Millwall. Millwall aren't going to take a lot of fans to Millwall.
Millwall aren't going to take a lot of fans to Millwall.
No, I've seen the stadium. It's empty.
Apart from the big cancer man, obviously.
Apart from the big cancer man.
I keep saying that sounds so wrong. Their recent form doesn't really inspire. I'm just looking at the table and seeing Millwall at home have 1-2, drew 2, lost 2. Wigan away from home 1-1, lost 5. So
both teams can't lose, but you think
I don't know. Watching this game, we could lose.
I'm not going to watch this game. I'll tell you that now for free.
I don't have a strong opinion either way, to be honest with you.
I think a Millwall win based on the fact that I don't know, Wigan are up and down, and they had such an up at the weekend. I just think this is going to be a down. I'm going to go for a Millwall win. The game I'm probably going to watch, Norwich at home to Villa.
Where does your opinion lie in this one? You go first, so I can argue with you.
I think Norwich are going to win this. And I think they're going to win this because obviously it was a good result. No, I think Villa are going to win.
If Norwich are going to win, so that's a good result. No, Villa are going to win. I think Villa are going to win. I'm just looking at the odds in front of me with a betting company who also sponsor a stadium in the Championship. Work that one out, Cluso. Villa are 21-10 the minute, so just over 2-1. I'd take them to beat
There probably
Norwich
other
away
listeners,
from home.
including me. I ain't got a clue whether that's good or not.
What?
21-10, is that
21-10 is just over 2-1. So you would say Norwich are 6-4. So technically, Norwich are more favoured. Well, they are. Norwich are more favoured to beat Aston Villa at home.
Because
if that was the other way round and that was at Villa Park, I think that Villa would be strong favourites to beat Norwich. Given, well, again, Norwich's away form is quite good, but I just think Villa have got the players. Now they've got a manager who plays their style of football. I think they're going to go there, and it's not going to be like a thrashing, but I can just get them seeing there and being too strong for Norwich.
I think the Timu Pukki injury is going to really be it's going to be a painful 6 weeks for Norwich.
Yeah, and what was the outcome of Hernandez as well? I haven't looked into that. I've got to be honest with you. Through sheer frustration, Hernandez come off in the 75th, 76th minute against us.
Did
on Saturday, and he was holding his groin. I think he had a hernia operation.
I think that was.
I know they were quite concerned about that. I don't know how long.
I have it up.
I'll stall. Of course, Aston Villa's recent form is not as good as Norwich's recent form. Norwich in the last 6 have won 4, drawn 1, lost 1, while Aston Villa have won 2, drew 2, lost 2. So you would imagine that it's going to be quite close. But
he's not a doubt.
No,
he's not a doubt. They've obviously got Timo Pukki's early November as the earliest they expect him back. Jarvis is due back pretty much any time now. So yeah, he's not a doubt. I don't think you'd probably risk him from the start, if I'm honest, because he's a big player for him. I just think Pukki's going to be the one they've missed. He's if you look at goals and players that earn you points, like QPR. You know, he basically won them the 3 points. There's been a couple of games where his one goal has got the 3 points for Norwich. I think missing him is going to be big. I think you're right. Villa, they get the ball down. They're going to play. They're going to put balls into the box. I think this is going to be a Villa win. I think it's definitely going to be a Villa win.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I will have a bet tomorrow, and they'll be the second team on my coupon. After Middlesbrough.
QPR at home to Sheffield Wednesday. So QPR, who vanquished the mighty Ipswich away from home. I don't think QPR played too well at home this season.
I'm stunned at this moment in time. Can have Sheffield Wednesday got any big injury concerns or suspensions? I'm making Paul research a lot at the minute.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
QPR's home form is a bit ropey. 1-2 drawn.
Forestieri's out for a few weeks. Gary Hooper's out for a few weeks. That could be why. No.
Sheffield Wednesday 1-3, lost 3 away from home. QPR are just about evens, 21-20. Sheffield Wednesday away from home to QPR are 3-1.
That's big odds, isn't it?
That's big. That's worth a chance.
I was going to say
that's worth a chance in my opinion.
Yeah, I might have some of that. I just think I think I'd go for a Wednesday win here. If I'm honest, I think Wednesday, barring some sloppy defending, I think they probably could have done slightly better. I don't know. I just fancy a Sheffield Wednesday win here. I think the QPR obviously have got some momentum, but you can't go on the last result because of who they were playing. Sheffield United at home to Stoke. I'm going for Sheffield United win here.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think Sheffield United are very in and out, going away to Derby and losing to.
They are better at home.
Yes, they are better at home. Then they score goals as well. Just under 2 a game they score. Well, then again they're scoring 2 a game away from home as well, just about. But yeah, Stoke. They've got to show improvement sometime soon. I mean, they're only 5 points off the playoffs, but at this stage of the season, you'd have expected them to be a lot higher. Sheffield United are very in and out. They lost at the weekend. Wouldn't surprise me if they go and score 2 or 3 past Stoke tomorrow.
I agree.
That may well be the game I watch, actually. If you're watching Norwich Villa, I'll probably end up watching Sheffield United Stoke.
Swansea at home to Blackburn. Swansea are good defensively. I don't think they're going to be very good defensively against Blackburn.
Yeah, can you see Blackburn going to Liberty Stadium and winning, though?
I can see it being over 2.5 goals.
Yeah.
I just don't feel...
Swansea are very in and out. There's only... I know Blackburn are 7th and Swansea are 15th. There's only 4 points between the two sides. Swansea have got a better goal difference as well, believe it or not. So you could argue a case that Swansea could get back on track with a win against Blackburn, and that's probably the way I'd go. I wouldn't be confident enough to have a bet on it, but I'd say probably Swansea just to edge Blackburn.
Birmingham City against Reading. Birmingham City at home to Reading. I'd say Birmingham win.
Yes, you would imagine
Birmingham, they've not been a team I've been confident about this season, but I think they've Jukovic is firing. I think Jota's playing well. Birmingham City win to me.
On all known form, you'd go for this. I'm going to throw a spanner in the works. Their home form at 6 games, they've only won 1 and drew 5. Reading have won 1, drew 3, lost 2 away from home. Reading are better. Well, they've got more points away from home than what they have.
So you're saying draw, aren't you?
No, they've actually got the same amount of points, so I do beg your pardon. But Reading always look like a team better suited to playing away from home, the way they play. That wouldn't surprise me if that was That wouldn't surprise me if that was a draw in the slightest.
No, I think that could be it. Actually, I think you're probably right. I just think Birmingham have just got a habit of nicking goals, and I think that could change. Bristol City at home to Hull. Bristol City have been a team. Every time I think they're going to do well, they end up losing. So I'm actually going to go for a draw here.
Yeah, no, I can't see. No, Bristol City are going to win. I can't see Hull getting a result here.
You know, you get some of them games, you just get a feeling. I think that's just one way.
I get a feeling that's.
I just think that the players they play for Nigel Atkins. I think, given the stick he's had, I think they'll battle for him here.
I normally get a feeling when I look at these games on paper, but that's to do with a water infection. Bristol City. Bristol City home win.
I've just seen the next game. Leeds against Ipswich. This could be a cricket score.
Right. I'm now going to give you I'm now going to give you an education in betting odds to try and liven this up.
Don't bet on Leeds.
No. I mean, Leeds, if you think they're certain, 4-9 is a decent enough price. You could put 90. You could put 90 grand on to win 40 grand. Out of the two games on paper, Middlesbrough Rotherham and Leeds Ipswich, who would you favour more heavily to win?
Hold on, give me that again.
Out of the games we talked about Middlesbrough at home to Rotherham, and you've got Leeds against Ipswich. Out of them two teams playing at home, who would be more heavily favoured to win, in your opinion?
I would say Middlesbrough.
They are marginal. They're 2-5, and Leeds are 4-9.
Ooh.
I would say Leeds have got to be. I would personally say that Leeds have got to be a lot more odds on than what Middlesbrough are against Rotherham, because you can maybe give a little bit of a. You can maybe give a little bit of a chance for Rotherham, maybe sneaking a draw or pushing Middlesbrough close. There's no chance Ipswich are going to go to Ellen Road and get a result. You watch now. We'll discuss this game on Wednesday night or whenever we're doing the next one, and we'll say, well, I can't believe Leeds have gone there, because in all fairness, Ipswich went to the Liberty Stadium and won a game 3-2 that they had no right to win. No,
they won the game they won this season.
But no, they went there and they had no right to win that game, and they somehow managed to, so they've got it in them. But no, I can't see that, especially with Kemar Roof and Hernandez back. Leeds should be able to find their mojo again quite quickly, and I fear for Ipswich there that could well be a bad result for them.
Preston at home to Brentford.
Now this one's tough because Brentford have slipped a little bit. They're 12th now, aren't they? And they've just lost their manager. Thomas Frank being the manager maybe takes a little bit of time for them getting used to him being the manager rather than the assistant coach or whatever. Bit of dynamic. Remember when Brian Kidd was a manager and all that, and Brian Robson and people like that within the setup. That's just like, ooh, that's a bit weird with that dynamic. Preston at home, they've picked up last couple of games. They scraped a draw against Hull. They thrashed Wigan the game before. They score a lot of goals. Would that be a surprise to say I think they'll win at home?
I was thinking the exact same thing. It's either going to be a Preston win or a draw, but I don't see Brentford winning this.
Again, the odds, Preston are 2-1. They're not the favourites to win at home, and I think that should be a lot closer in odds than what it is. From a gambling point of view, I would put Preston in a bet, or just have a little bet on Preston maybe, but I think they could do them at home. I really do. Brentford have not won away from home this season yet, drawn 4, lost 2. Preston have won both their games at home.
Surprising.
And scored a lot of goals as well.
Bolton at home to Forest.
Home win.
This has got to be, considering how challenging you Forest find corners. I think you've got to be worried about this game.
It's going to be hard. At the end of the day, I've said this more than once, and I mean it this time as well, that's more prevalent than ever. If we can't go to the University of Bolton Stadium and beat them, we're not going to go up this season. I don't have a chance of being in the push. These are the games we've got to win. There's got to be a big bounce back after what happened on Saturday, and we've got to win. The odds reflect it as well. We're 5-4. They're 13-5. That's like just under 3-1 for Bolton to win at home. And Forest have got to win. On paper, they've got the squad to do it. We've talked about it though previously. It's not always how that should be. That's going to be hard, but the way we play, we can probably catch them on the break, and I think we can go there and win.
And the game I'm going to watch, partly because we're recording a podcast before it, West Brom against Derby, and it kicks off at 8 o'clock.
Yes, this one's a very interesting game.
This is a very interesting game. I'm going to go with a draw.
Yeah, although Derby have lost 3 games, they've lost half their games away from home so far this season. West Brom are free scoring at home. Good God, I can't even work that out. Is that 3 a game at the Hawthorns? Over 3 a game at the Hawthorns. West Brom win for me, only because I hate Derby. I had to say it once in the podcast. I've been quite well behaved.
Yeah,
I've been quite well behaved today.
That is unlike you. Unlike you to be unbiased.
Apart from other comments that we shall not repeat.
So, that concludes part 4 of the Championship Talk podcast. We will be recording a game Wednesday. We'll be recording again on Wednesday
No, we'll be recording the game.
We'll be recording a game because it's live stream it. No, we'll be recording again on Wednesday. We will go through the 7 games that are in the Championship on Tuesday night, and then we'll finish off Wednesday's games the following week on the podcast. As always, thank you very much for listening. You can like and subscribe. You can like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Championship TA1. Thank you for everyone that's following us. We are posting more and more stuff on our platforms, and it's always good to hear from everyone that's listening. That is goodbye from me, goodbye from Thomas,
Goodbye, everybody.
and we shall speak to you all hopefully after Tuesday night's games. See you all next week.